That is due to a crash there.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny and cold today with a high near 30. Clear to partly cloudy and becoming breezy tonight, though 25 early. Then temperatures will slowly rise into the 30s by morning. Tomorrow, sunshine, some clouds, breezy and not so cold in the afternoon with a high close to 40. On Friday, sunshine to start, then increasing clouds. There could be a late day shower, the high 45 to 49. This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now we have sunny skies, 18 degrees in Florissant. It's 19 in St. Peters and 16 degrees reported downtown at the Arch. The weather is sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company, PennMutual.com/STL. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to PennMutual.com/STL. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
It's the Chris and Amy Show.
Check it out. St. Louis, Mound City, we are going to have a great day today.
Now, Amy Mark scores Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Let's take it from the top.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning. It's a great day in
Already.
St. Louis. It's a great day in America. Look at us.
What a great day it is. Amy Mark scores Chris Ranji. This is no longer the show. It hasn't been the show for 2 years. Anyway, just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But we are still with you in the same time slot, basically, with you until 1 o'clock today, as we are every Monday through Friday. 314-436-7900 is our longtime phone number that you can call and text. On the Odyssey app where you can listen to the show live, you better have it downloaded on your phone.
You better.
You can record a message and send it to us. It's very easy. There's a button right there. It tells you how to do it. So if we are talking about something and you have a thought and you want to yell at us or praise us, we love praise, you can send us a voice message. We are also streaming live on pretty much every social media platform that matters. We are on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Bad news for all you red dye number 3 fans out there. The FDA has ruled it's going to ban it. It's out.
I'm so excited. Let's keep going with the dye fans.
Amy hates dyes.
Oh, my gosh, I hate dyes. And Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is suing China over the COVID pandemic, specifically accusing China of hoarding masks and other protective gear.
Good win for the Blues last night. They beat Calgary. However, SLU, in a game you heard right here on KMOX, does fall to VCU. The Missouri Tigers, though, another top 5 win for them. They won last night. They beat Florida. Good win for them. And the Fighting Illini win as well. So we're going to talk about all of these things coming up here. Nikki Budzinski, representative for the 13th Congressional District in Illinois. We are going to talk to her about Venice, Illinois, where there's this Dow chemical plant that has been a number of different businesses over the decades, but there is nuclear waste residue that has been there, and a lot of people in the area who live around it have been sick. And so there is an effort to get those people compensation. So we're going to talk to the Congresswoman at 10:30. We'll also visit with Matt Pauley. We'll talk all the sports. And then Sean Malone is covering the Rams settlement money, ongoing stuff, like trying to figure out where it's going to be spent. And
emphasis on the word ongoing.
Ongoing.
It has been going on for
a long time.
A while.
So Sean Malone from the KMOX newsroom is covering that story. He's going to join us in the 12 o'clock hour to tell us where we stand. But Amy, if you've been eating Peeps or Ring Pops or Double Bubble or Entenmann's Little Bites or some of the Hostess's Ding Dongs, and you've been consuming red dye number 3, you're out of luck. They're getting rid of it.
I'm so glad.
It's going to be banned.
Listen, I love America, but there are a few things that Europe is really, really right on. And they are really, really right on banning a lot of the dyes and ultra-processed foods we allow here in our country. Listen, This could get into a really serious conversation because it is. Dr. Marty McCary, who we've had on the show multiple times before, has talked a bit about it. Johns Hopkins University, as well as other doctors who have said, we're looking at mysterious or unknown rates of colon cancer in young people. We're looking at skyrocketing obesity. We're looking at issues with Alzheimer's or dementia or all these illnesses and chronic diseases that are just blowing up here in America at faster rates than they are in other countries.
Yeah.
And he said, and if we don't look at our food source, that's criminally negligent. There's a reason why the EU has certain regulations for the chemicals and dyes and the processes that you can put flour through and so forth. There's a reason why when people go to Italy and eat twice their weight in food, still can lose weight, come back home and have lost weight eating in Italy because they're not eating the processed foods and consuming all the dyes. After, being in Switzerland this fall and just seeing the simplicity of the food, even the cereals. First of all, they don't have a giant cereal aisle. They have a lot of muesli, which is just like that dried oatmeal. And if they have a cereal, it's like one Kellogg cereal and it looks completely different than our cereal. It's pretty muted. The colors look faded because they don't have the dyes. They're only allowed to use vegetable dye. I am so glad we are banning red dye number 3. I know this is a drop in the water bucket, but it's a start.
It's an indication of exactly what you're talking about. And by the way, January 15th of 2027, that's when food manufacturers, that's the deadline that they've got to get it completely out. So they have a long time to adjust, literally 2 years from now to adjust. And the drug manufacturers, because there are some drugs that have it, which makes, to me, medicine, a pill that you swallow or a liquid that you drink having a color. Who cares what color your medicine is? Does it make it more appealing to you if the pill that you're ingesting is red or yellow?
It's crazy in America that we do that. We want everything to be commercial and flashy.
Oh, it's got to be cute. Everything has to look aesthetically pleasing for you to eat it. And that goes to the food in the grocery store where they don't display apples that look deformed. Like, who cares if your apple is deformed? It's still the same thing. So the drug companies have until 3 years from now. They have until January 18th of 2028. But this always goes back to an idea. And I remember years ago having this argument with a friend about the food that we eat, the food that we're exposed to. And she said, well, it's just personal choice. All you have to do is just eat healthy. Why? I mean, make the decision to eat healthy. And yeah, that's great. You can do that. But when you have a country of 350 million people, it's not possible for everybody to only eat vegetables and whole foods. When I mean whole foods, the grocery store, I mean actual whole foods that are not processed. If everybody's going to eat in this country, it's sometimes going to be stuff that's processed. And there is so much garbage around us that naturally people are going to eat the things that are close to them, the things they have access to. Even if it's not the best food, you're going to eat what you're able to get. And it's just not realistic for everybody in the country, all 350 million of us or so, to eat whole foods all the time.
And also, if you have chicken and some bread and a vegetable, that's healthy. That should be healthy, except we spray insecticides and pesticides on our vegetables. Our flour is ultra processed. So even people who can afford to eat healthy and are eating healthy aren't really eating healthy if they are not incredibly careful, discerning to find out what is in certain foods. And I would say, even when you are trying to find out, you can't. It's just different when the FDA or when our country allows so many ultra processed foods.
And by the way, this red dye in particular, Amy, it's not in things it's not just in stuff that is red.
Right.
You might think, well, this is red, so it must have the red dye in it. Stuff like loaded mashed potatoes from Betty Crocker's has it in it. Like, why would you think that loaded mashed potatoes would have a red dye in it.
Yeah. And all the other things that have to be in a pre-made loaded mashed potato. And I guess another thing that was really made me sad, made me feel like we're failing younger generations, not only with the smartphone access, but also with the junk food that we feed them, the junk food that's available. Going again to Europe and not seeing obesity. It's just not there in the way that it is here in America, especially not among kids. My friend, who is from Switzerland, moved here for 5 years, went back to Switzerland, said raising kids there was so much easier when it came to food choices because the fast food restaurants, the cereal aisle, the chip aisle, the candy aisle, they don't exist in the same way in the volume or frequency that they are here. He said it's so hard to be a parent in America.
It really is.
In the sense, I mean, when it comes to eating well, right? It's so much easier in other ways. It's more affordable and stuff. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying when it comes to...
Well, a lot of this food's cheap.
Yes. And when it comes to... And even if it's not cheap, like a Smoothie King is not cheap, it's just that they're on every corner. And he said he had to say no to his kids 100 times a day in the U.S. because you're going to even like... Breadco and getting like a cheesy broccoli soup and a cookie and a pastry. Oh, you're going to Starbucks. Let's get a cake pop and a soda. There's a gas station with tons of candy, fast food restaurants on every corner. The energy it takes for a parent to say no all the time.
Yes.
Pretty exhausting.
It is. And yes, there is some personal responsibility here, of course. I realize that. I realize that, but just it's basic psychology.
Yes, it is.
People eat and consume what is close to them, what they have access to. It's just that simple. So you can't expect hundreds of millions of people to behave a certain way and just reject all of this food that we're close to all the time.
The scaled down version is this. I consider myself a pretty self-disciplined person. I like to eat healthy. There are certain foods I don't buy because it's too hard to say no if they're in your apartment and it's too easy to eat the whole bag.
Yeah.
It's willpower is a muscle. It's not a character trait, meaning you don't get tired of being honest by the end of the day. Honesty is a character trait. You do get tired saying no, to the candy and you're feeling hungry and you think you want junk food. That's a muscle that fatigues. And when you're around bad food all the time, you get tired. It's hard.
And when you need some Tylenol PM, you might want to think twice because Tylenol PM also has red dye 3.
Well, I won't take my Tylenol PM unless it looks pretty.
But as you can imagine, the reason it is being banned is because it has been known to cause thyroid cancer in laboratory animals, and there's been a push for several years now to try and get this, out of our food supply and our drug supply. Well, finally, the FDA has done that, but you're still going to have to deal with it for a couple of years. So if you're one of those people who really wants to pay attention to what you are consuming, you just have to look at the ingredients label and it will say red dye number 3 or red number 3. It's right there.
And I know we're breaking, but also the big bad one is red 40. That one hasn't been addressed yet.
Red 40?
I know.
I can't have red 40 either?
Listen, there are 9 reds.
Oh, there's 9 of them?
There's 9.
Then why does it go up to 40?
I think they skipped.
Why?
Probably because...
Are they trying to confuse us?
I think consecutive numbers is too confusing. Kind of like, is it George Washington? Is it George Smoshington? You know what I mean?
Okay. That's Amy Marks Scores. I'm Chris Ranji. You've got our Odyssey app, don't you? Well, you better download it and then leave us a voice message right there from the app. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley. Join Mike Claiborne and me for a very special Countdown to Opening Day show on Thursday as new Cardinals assistant GM Rob Cerfolio is our featured guest. Listen in Thursday night, 6 to 8, or join us live at Cardinals Nation Restaurant at 1 in the afternoon. It's Rob Cerfolio's first broadcast interview since being hired, and it's only on KMOX.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay, things people love.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. You know, when you go to the Audiology Center, you'll see a doctor of audiology. And with us right now, Dr. Colleen Bosler. Dr. Bosler, what are some of the signs of hearing loss?
Well, it's a number of things. Sometimes loved ones notice a person asking others to repeat themselves, or the television is too loud. What people tend to notice first with hearing loss is the loss of clarity. They can hear people talking, but they cannot always understand what's being said. That's because the hearing loss can cause you to miss certain consonant sounds, and those consonant sounds give us the detail to the word. A hearing aid can help bring back those details and give you a sense of clarity that you're missing.
Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center with 3 locations in the greater St. Louis area. Call for an appointment, 636-441-7470. Online, theaudiologycenterstl.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
There are times where high standards are vital. For example, your football team wouldn't let just anyone start at quarterback. And should you let just anyone give you guidance? We don't think so. In fact, at California Psychics, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. You see, we come from the home of free spirits and open minds. We're not short of spiritual believers or big dreamers. It's why we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. California Psychics connect you with the very best, so we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So, there's never been a better time to give our services a try. That sounds like a touchdown to me. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychic.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules. Stay informed. Stay entertained. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you. Well, we just saw yesterday that Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey is set to issue his lawsuit against China, Missouri versus China. In less than 2 weeks, Missouri will become the only state in the nation to face off against China for the harm they caused to Americans during COVID-19. This is on Attorney General Bailey's Twitter account. He said more information to come. So it's not a long lawsuit. It's 15 pages. I just read the first part of it, and there are protections for foreign nations against like states suing them, because my first thought was, can we sue China? Like, how does that work? Like, how does a state sue another country? Well, this is specifically, the lawsuit accuses China of hoarding masks and other protective gear during the COVID-19 pandemic. I believe there were other allegations that were turned down, said you don't have the right to do that because of that foreign nation's act that protects them. So this is the one that will go through among the many.
So, what's the outcome going to be of this? I don't know. To me, it seems performative more than anything else. Like, what is the state of Missouri going to get from China?
I don't
know.
know.
What actual repercussions are there other than, look what I'm doing? I'm filing this lawsuit, and we're going to determine that they've done X, Y, or Z. Okay, great. Now what? What do we get? What does Missouri get from China if they win this lawsuit?
Yeah, and I don't know what Missouri would get. I don't know if it's something that's very material and tangible, or if you said, if it's performative, which may actually, like I said, which doesn't necessarily mean it's not valid. And the reason why I do say that is it is mind-boggling that we did have the COVID-19 pandemic. And I remember in one interview, Dr. Fauci had said that we need to ensure this never happens again. So we're not going to waste time into looking how it started. and that stayed with me for years because I thought, wow, does he realize what he just said? That's not how it works. I think the country should continue to look into how it started, and experts and investigators and reporters from I love Josh Rogan of the Washington Post. He has been on this for years. They have said, here's our lab leak theory. Then there was the Wuhan wet market theory. With Josh Rogan, he was writing a book before this started, before COVID even started. He was writing and was finishing up a book about the dangers of the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the tests they were doing there, and the fact that it had been sanctioned multiple times by the United States government for not following safety protocol. And it's the highest level security lab that you can have. I think it's a BioLab 4. We have a couple of those in the United States, and a couple of smaller bird flu outbreaks happened because someone didn't follow protocol in Texas and so forth. Not massive, but smaller ones. So these breaches of safety protocol do happen. And to me, it is, like an Occam's razor that if they were testing these diseases, they had already been sanctioned multiple times. The key is,
but what does this have to do with Missouri? What does this have to do with the state of Missouri doing this? This is a federal issue.
Yes, and I think if it goes to being performative, if it's drawing attention, or it is politicians, attorney generals, governors, whoever, who don't have the power to draw the attention to saying, hey, we got to find out what China is doing. If this performance, if you want to call it that, draws attention to it, I'm not terribly mad at it. I'm okay with it.
There's already a lot of attention on it, and this is not really the first time that it seemed to have focused on national issues instead of Missouri issues. So I don't know. Personally, I think that's what he should be. He's the Missouri Attorney General, deal with the state of Missouri. We have a U.S. Attorney General. If when Donald Trump gets into office, if this is a thing that he believes we should go back and look at, fine, then investigate it. I don't think anybody's going to argue with trying to figure out what the origin of that disease was, that pandemic. I even think the scientific community, the people I trust, the people I listen to, I don't listen to politicians on this. I listen to the scientific community. I think they would like to get to the bottom of it. And there is not agreement on where the whole thing started. But again, this to me is a national issue and not something the state of Missouri should be undertaking.
Yeah, I get it. No, I do. And I know there are bigger things we need to worry about. So maybe he shouldn't be spending his time on this. Again, I will have to see what happens, how it moves forward, what the result is. I think I feel that frustration with what's going on. And the scientific community is hard for me because ultimately it's all people. And there are good people in the scientific community and bad people
who spend their entire their whole day, every day, working on these specific things. It's like if I've got a problem with my electrical, I'm not calling you. I'm calling somebody who deals with electrical stuff all day.
I think there are good and bad actors. I always, when money is involved, kind of like with big pharma, there's big money on the right and big money on the left because it's big pharma. Same thing with the tech bros like Mark Zuckerberg. will big money on the left and right. I with the scientific community, when it comes to research, I think there are some bad actors.
Sure, but a lot of people who are really trying to get answers,
So
and that's why they get into the field or those fields to begin with.
I hope we do, because COVID royally messed us all up. Not only it took lives, but I think it messed us up forever.
And
I mean,
I
we're
think
not the same. Our immune systems, all of that.
And I think I think the reason it messed us up upstairs in our heads is because politicians saw opportunities to get political points.
Oh, sorry. I think it meant my body's not the same.
Are you talking physically? Well, I'm
yeah.
talking mentally, and
Yeah.
as a country, it really jacked us up.
Maybe both.
Hey, when we come back, as I mentioned earlier in the show, Nikki Budzinski is a congressperson from Illinois, District 13, and there are people who have been suffering as a result of some nuclear waste that has been on the Metro East side. We will talk to Nikki Budzinski when we come back on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes où?
Vous êtes où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at NewNordicUSA.com or CVS. That's NewNordicUSA.com.
At 10:30, we have sunny skies, 19 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. A couple of traffic notes for you. We do still have a closure on eastbound 44 at Vandeventer. The 3 lanes are blocked there. A pretty big backup, and that is due to an earlier fatal crash at that location. Also, we're still getting reports that westbound 64 in Illinois remains closed due to a crash between 255 and Illinois 111. In the news, CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula reports on a big change coming to the nation's food industry.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is finally banning red dye number 3 from food and medications, decades after scientific evidence raised alarms about the food coloring. Research has shown red dye number 3 can cause cancer, especially thyroid, along with behavioral health issues such as ADHD. It's used in many popular foods and beverages.
The FDA banned the use of red dye number 3 in cosmetics nearly 35 years ago. The forecast sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies. Mostly sunny but cold today, a high near 30. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy and breezy with an overnight low around 30. And then tomorrow, sunny with some clouds, not so cold in the afternoon. We could get up to a high of 40. Right now, sunny 19 downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
You're leaving for work, but the garage door won't open. Is it the opener? Is the spring broken? Now you're late and your car is trapped. Well, don't panic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hey, Jimmy Fallon here with a quick listening tip for you. If you miss Fox Across America or any of your other Fox News favorites, do not worry. I got you covered. You can stream previously aired shows with Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app. So if you're busy work days, it doesn't mean you have to miss out on the news. Listen to your Fox shows on your time with Odyssey. To get started, just download the free Odyssey app and search for Fox News Radio. That's Odyssey, Audacy. I'm spelling it out in case you're a little slow like me.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Hey, it's Dave Glover for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 free. No limit and no payments for 3 years. Restrictions apply. Have a price, they'll beat it. Schedule your free in-home estimate today.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
Do you want to kickstart planning for your retirement this year? I know the quick and easy way to do this. It's a 3-hour adult education class. It's called Retirement Planning 101. It's almost like getting the Cliff Notes, right? On how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement. Hi, it's Sue Thomas. And this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. Now, they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You're going to learn about IRA and 401k withdrawals, tax saving strategies, Roth conversions, Social Security, and more. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are still openings for classes this month and next. So call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
If it's happening in sports, Bernie Nicholas talks about it Tuesday and Thursday on The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX, and it is time to go to the guest line today. And we are visiting with Congresswoman out of the 13th District in the state of Illinois. Nikki Budzinski is with us now on KMOX. Congresswoman, it is great to have you with us this morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Chris.
So this is an important issue, and we spend a lot of time, or we have spent a lot of time in St. Louis talking about the nuclear waste that's in the, northern western part of the city, the landfill and all of that. But I think it often gets overlooked what was happening on the east side of the river. And for me personally, this does hit home because that Dow chemical plant is where my dad worked for several years, and he ended up getting sick. So I know that there is a new push that for people in Venice and Granite City and Madison, they could see some relief. What exactly is it that you're looking for?
Yeah, well, we're working actually with Senator Hawley, who I know is focused on exactly the neighborhoods you were talking about in Missouri. On the other side of the river, I'm working with Senator Durbin specifically to get compensation to the communities of Venice, Madison, Granite City they consider themselves, or they're referred to as downwind communities, but they are communities that were directly impacted by Dow Chemical dumping radioactive waste materials between the years of 1960 to 1973 that obviously impacted the workers that were working directly with these materials, like your father, but also the communities. What I found out when I just recently visited Venice with the mayor and some citizen activists that have been really leading the charge here, there was an elementary school just blocks away from this Dow chemical plant. And what has been able to be traced are hundreds of cases of cancer that were developed not just from the workers that were exposed by working within the facility and bringing their exposure to those radioactive materials into their home, but to the community that was surrounding the plant. And so what I'm working on is the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, often referred to as RECA, getting that reauthorized to include the zip code of 6206 Those are the communities that are covered, Venice, Madison, and Granite City, under that zip code that we believe are downwind that were directly impacted by this exposure.
So I know there was some sort of, and it must have been 30 plus years ago, there was some sort of class action lawsuit, and I think it was people who worked at the plant, if I remember correctly, who were compensated for it. But the people, the people who lived in the vicinity of it, they were not compensated, correct?
Correct. And so we're fighting for that in particular. That's why we're trying to fight for the inclusion for the exposure of the downwinder communities, that maybe these are people that didn't work directly in the plant, but they were certainly exposed to the radiation or radioactive material. And so we believe they deserve compensation. I also want to say you're correct that some of the workers were compensated, but that too is, something we're taking a look at because, you had to test positives for some very specific cancers in order to be eligible for that compensation. And obviously we're finding out as years have passed that those types of cancers should probably really be expanded to make sure we're covering all the workers and all the exposure that they had for working in those plants. But what my bill is, though, Chris, is really focused on including the downwinder communities exposure.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that, too, because I know that particular suit covered, all the people who worked there up until a certain date. And I know it was in the 90s, but I'm not exactly sure what the cutoff was. But there were people who worked in the building after the fact when Dow was not the company there. It was a place called Spectral Light, that it's been something else. Are those people, if they've developed anything, is that something that when you're talking about exploring that in the future, is that what you mean?
Yeah, that is what I mean. So it was in 1990 when the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act first passed. And that was designed to provide restitution to individuals who worked in the radioactive facilities during the Manhattan Project era. And so it has a specific kind of guardrails focus to it. We just want to make sure that all workers that were negatively impacted by this exposure are included in that compensation. So we're working with folks on the ground to take a look at that. That's a part of this. But the legislation that I'm really kind of also trying to focus on that hasn't received as much attention until recently are these downwinder communities and getting the communities also compensated.
Do you know what kind of timeline you're looking at with this bill and compensation?
Yeah, so we worked, as I said, very closely with Senator Hawley, who was leading the charge in the Senate on this, and Senator Durbin. We had hope that we were going to be able to include this in the National Defense Authorization Act. Unfortunately, Speaker Mike Johnson removed it from that bill. We were really optimistic that we were going to get the 62060 zip code included in that. So what we're going to be doing is just, marching ahead. I'm not giving up this fight. I think we have a lot of different moving vehicles in this next Congress. One obviously coming up is our government funding, which expires on March 14th. There will be a reconciliation bill. I think that's one opportunity for us to get RECA included in that bill, but also the NDAA will come up again. So there are a number of legislative moving vehicles that we're going to be working closely with our Senate leads and House leads on this. But one of the things I'm encouraged by, Amy, is the fact that this is a bicameral issue. Both House and Senate are taking this up, Democrats and Republicans. And, one of the things we talked about in Venice when I was there just a couple days ago are the issues around exposure to radioactive waste. Don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're rich or you're poor, if you're black or you're white, it's going to impact you and your communities. And I think that's what's bringing out all of us together to commit to getting this done.
Yeah, you mentioned working with Josh Hawley. It has bipartisan support. Why would Mike Johnson want to remove this from that bill?
Well, what he stated at the time was cost, and there is a price tag to this. But what I would counter that with is, how do you put a price tag on? I met with Larry Bergen, who is one of the citizen activists who's really been leading this charge in the Venice community, who worked in the Dow chemical plant, like Chris's father, and carries with him the burden of bringing home that exposure to his home. He has family that was then indirectly exposed and has seen health effects to that. How do you put a price tag on that? And I think that these communities have long deserved justice on this issue, and we need to continue this fight to get it done.
So you seem to have confidence that something will happen here. Am I reading that right? That there will be some sort of compensation down the road?
Yeah, we have a commitment, I think, from Democratic and Republican legislators that this is a priority, and we're going to keep focused on it to get it accomplished. As I know you both know, Washington, D.C. can sometimes not be the most functional place. But what I would say is, as we stay focused on this as a top priority of mine, a top priority of many other legislators, there are a number of different legislative opportunities for us to tag RICA into their bills. We're going to work to find those opportunities and get it done.
When you are working on a bill like this that does have bipartisan support, you mentioned Washington is dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. Does it go? Mm-hmm. Does it help build relationships across the aisle when you guys can work together?
Oh, absolutely. And I have to say, the district I represent in Congress is so desperately interested in that. Like, they want me to go to Washington to find common ground with Republicans, Democrats, Independents. They don't care about your party affiliation. If you're going to do something that benefits our communities, and this example of RICA and getting this passed will directly benefit the communities I represent in Madison, Venice, and Granite City. And while, Senator Hawley and I will not agree on a number of issues, we can agree here. And so I think that's important, and we should try to work together to get this done.
As I mentioned, my dad worked at this place. I grew up in Granite City, so what happens to that town matters a lot to me. I still have family who live there. Last week on the show, Mayor Mike Parkinson was on talking about the U.S. Steel merger with the Japanese company Nippon. Where do you stand on that right now, and what do you think happens next?
Yeah, I care a lot about Granite City, too, for that same reason, Chris. I've been very focused on how do we bring continued investment into Granite City Works to keep those blast furnaces running. As you know, there were 3, now we're down to 2 that are really kind of operational. And so what I had been pressing on during all of the talks around Nippon purchasing U.S. Steel is I wanted to see a commitment of investment in Granite City Works, and that would then lead to me being able to support the deal. We came up shy of being able to see that, and so you saw a lot of opposition, including my own, across the country to the deal because I just didn't see the investment in Granite City Works. We have some of the best workers in the country. They're highly skilled. We're producing unique components and parts, and steel production is happening in Granite City. There is no reason why a company like U.S. Steel or Nippon wouldn't want to see continued investment. And so short of that, I wasn't able to support this deal. But I think what is unknown now is what happens with U.S. Steel. Just yesterday, I saw that U.S. Steel, their stock is up because of the potential for other potential buyers or bidders to purchase the company. We'll see kind of how all that shakes out. And we'll also see how the incoming Trump administration, who also said, like President Biden, incoming President Trump has said he opposed the deal, the merger as well. So we'll see what happens. There are a number of other things. There's a SunCoke potential sale also on the table that I understand is still alive, but until things get more sorted out, bigger picture for Granite City Works, that kind of deal is just in a holding pattern. So I'm following this really closely too. It's very important for the community of Granite City, and I'm going to keep fighting to make sure we see continued investment.
Yeah, Parkinson mentioned that he just hadn't seen in writing that commitment you're talking about. Is it that they don't have the commitment, or they're just not being explicit with what they want to do?
Well, I'll tell you what's been frustrating is there have been a number of really large federal grants that the Biden administration could have made available to kind of make these investments in their plant. One of the arguments that U.S. Steel is making is that they want to move to an electric arc furnace and producing pig iron and reducing their carbon footprint. And that's the argument as to why they want to move their facility down to Big River in Arkansas. I think that those kind of investments to, potentially build an electric arc furnace or make continued investments to decarbonize the plant could have been done through Inflation Reduction Act dollars through the Department of Energy. And we outlined a whole list of those dollars that could have been made available. We would have advocated within the administration that U.S. Steel get those funds to make investment in Granite City, and they just had absolutely no interest. And so there were opportunities. I don't know with this new incoming administration if those opportunities are going to still be on the table or not. But, I agree with you, and I agree with Mayor Parkinson. We just never saw the details of what they were or were not able to invest in.
Well, President-elect Trump visited Granite City Steel when he was still president, so hopefully he has a commitment to them. Nikki Budzinski, Congresswoman from Illinois, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a great day.
That is the Congresswoman from the part of Illinois where I am from, Madison, Venice. I grew up in Granite City, and we appreciate her time today. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code RADIO. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
The 28th annual Winter Warm-Up is coming back to Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village this weekend, January 18th through 20th. Admission passes and player autograph tickets are on sale now. Team up with Cardinals Care to support St. Louis area children by purchasing your tickets now. It's one of the best events of the year, with family-friendly activities including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse and admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. Get more info now at KMOX.com/events.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, youridoc.com.
What does Del Walmsley, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, think you need to succeed in this market?
It's time to buy, and so you better get prepared, you better get educated, you better get your money right. You need to get involved because you're going to need the financing. You're going to need the vendors that we have available to us. You're just going to need the interaction with people. You need to immerse yourself into real estate.
Start your real estate immersion with a free workshop live online at lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Hi, this is Debbie Monterey. Join me and my co-host Kevin Short of Clayton Capital Partners for the Business of Family Business Saturdays at 2.
Join us. We interview many St. Louis business owners and families and learn a lot and have a good time.
So many interesting stories of passing a business along to the next generation or not, and some great tips as well. It's the Business of Family Business here on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX, Saturdays at 2.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the Voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Okay, this headline is kind of surprising. TikTok plans an immediate U.S. shutdown on Sunday. You know how, don't you feel like a lot of headlines are, they sound sensational, or like, oh my gosh, this could happen. And then you read further down the story, but most likely it's not going to happen. I feel like we've talked about TikTok for so long that somehow in my mind, I just thought it's not really going to get shut down. But right now, they do plan an immediate shutdown on Sunday. And because of that, the most downloaded app last week is Xiaohongshu, is what it's known in China. It's Red Note.
Red
here.
Note, that's it. Well.
So, but I mean, it will be kind of crazy if this thing just they shut down TikTok. I mean, I'm for it. I just didn't really think it would happen.
It's I still don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It will become a thing. It'll probably be Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank, ultimately buying it because he has said recently that he's pretty happy with the Supreme Court ruling on it because he thinks that it will force that company to do something which will allow him to swoop in.
Right. Basically, what the United States is saying, they have to divest of ByteDance, which is a Chinese-owned company, a.k.a. the Chinese Communist Party runs it. They
have access to it.
Yes. Well,
they don't run the app, but they have access to all the data.
And I guess, my point was that any business in China is ultimately run by the CCP. That's how Communist Party works. So I'm okay with it. He's gonna. Kevin O'Leary is going to have to hurry. He's only got a couple days. Unless maybe he can buy it once it's shut down.
He probably can do something after the fact, I would think. Speaking of influencers, did you see the influencer who, and this was not what I was going to present to you, but the influencer, young woman who removed it cost $17,000. It was a surgery to remove ribs from her body.
To be thinner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wants somebody to make a crown out of the bones.
That's disgusting.
It's so disgusting.
Where was this?
I don't know. She's an influencer. You can look it up. I'm thinking of it right now as we're talking about TikTok. Did you see that John Hamm, St. Louis's very own John Hamm, has won an award? He is the 2025 Man of the Year by Harvard University's Hasty Pudding Theatricals.
Well, Tom Ackerman brought up this morning that he has won a Stanley Cup and a Hasty Pudding Award now.
Well, he didn't win the Stanley Cup. He was there with his scarf every game.
Why was he always there with the scarf?
Because he looks fashionable. Yeah.
I do think.
I love a scarf.
Oh, listen, the more layers you have, the more fashionable you look. Winter is so much better for looking elegant and wealthy and put together. Because all you got to do is put on a sweater and a coat and a scarf. People might think you're a billionaire.
Doesn't even matter what you're wearing.
Yeah.
If you put on a scarf, you look put together.
You do. Or you look like a real estate agent, depending on the scarf.
Real estate agent?
If it's a silk scarf. A lot of Coldwell Banker real estate agents like silk scarves.
I don't think I've ever noticed that. Like what? Like Sandra Burks? Is that her name? The doctor that was in the Trump administration?
Yes, exactly. Like
Burks?
she could be. If she's out of a job now, she is ready-made for a Coldwell Banker glamour shot.
The fires in Los Angeles, in California, are ongoing, and there is some confusion about what happens with insurance, not just there in California, but around the country, how it could affect you as well. Director of Strategic Communication with the Insurance Information Institute, Janet Ruiz, will fill us in when we come back on KMOX.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Trustum Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trustum Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trustum Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at TrustumWill.com and use offer code RADIO now for 10% off. That's TrustumWill.com, offer code RADIO. Trustum Will is an online estate planning service. Visit TrustumWill.com for details.
The election is over and a new pro-business administration's about to begin. At Swish Funding, we're ready to help America's small businesses thrive in 25. Whether it's for cash flow, expansion, or new equipment, Swish Funding has flexible funding options from $25,000 up to $2 million. You could get a decision in minutes and cash in your account in as little as 24 hours, with rates as low as 8%. To qualify, be in business at least 1 year, with monthly revenue of at least $50,000. Apply today at swishfunding.com. SWISH funding.com.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, this is Tom Ackerman. Missouri sports fans, we have good news for you. Underdog is available to play in your state. Underdog, the best place to cash in during the playoffs. With their champs game, you can win up to 1,000 times your money by just choosing higher or lower on players' stats. You can pick yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and much more. It's the only champs platform, Underdog, that puts the power to cash out in your hands. And now you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. I love to play it. I can't wait to play my next play. Underdog is the best place to play champs. Download the app, sign up with promo code TOM, deposit now, get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code TOM. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
At 11 o'clock, we have sunny skies, 19 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. This just in from the Associated Press. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of dozens of hostages after more than 15 months of war. Any deal expected to pause the fighting, bring a hope for winding down the most deadly and destructive war Israel and Hamas have ever fought. We will bring you updates on that as they become available. In St. Louis, the city's aldermen have been getting an earful from residents about snow removal and road conditions.
People want to know when things will get done, when the roads are going to be clear. Most of the arterials have been clear for some time now, but of course, most residents live on side streets. So they're trying to get out of their houses and continue with their daily lives and having trouble doing so.
Ann Schweitzer is chair of the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee. She says it's particularly bad in Dogtown, where ice-covered hilly roads have been a big challenge for residents. At this afternoon's meeting, she says she hopes to hear what the city has learned, and they will take public comment. Speaking before Senate Judiciary Committee, Pam Bondi says that she would end what she calls the weaponization of the Justice Department if confirmed as Attorney General. President-elect Donald Trump's pick for AG is former Florida Attorney General, corporate lobbyist, and a longtime supporter of Mr. Trump. Democrats have voiced concerns about Bondi's ability to lead a DOJ that's independent from the White House. Senator Amy Klobuchar asked Bondi if she agreed that the White House should not interfere with decisions made by the Department of Justice.
I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation. Justice will be administered even-handedly throughout this country. Senator, we've got to bring this country back together.
The Senate Foreign Relations Committee weighing whether to elevate one of its own to become Donald Trump's Secretary of State. Appearing before the friendly panel, Florida Senator Marco Rubio explained how he will push Trump's America First policy.
Every dollar we spend, every program we fund, every policy we pursue must be justified by the answer to one of three questions. Does it make America safer? Does it make America stronger? Or does it make America more prosperous?
If confirmed, Rubio would become the first Latino to serve as the nation's top diplomat. Rubio was born in Miami to Cuban immigrants. The UN Secretary General has laid out his priorities for 2025 with some stark warnings. Here's CBS News correspondent Cammie McCormick.
Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned humanity has unleashed what he called a Pandora's box of ills, from out-of-control technology to the climate crisis.
Look no further than the hills of Los Angeles. It has gone from the home of disaster movies to a scene of disaster.
Guterres blamed the fossil fuel industry and said everyday people are the ones who suffer with their lives and livelihoods, higher insurance premiums, higher food prices, and volatile energy bills.
Again, in our top headline today, Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of dozens of hostages after more than 15 months of war. Stay with CBS and KMOX News for the latest. From the KMOX business desk, a man faces 20 years in prison for a decade-long Ponzi scheme involving Freon for refrigerators.
68-year-old Robert Rothlubers admitted running a Ponzi scheme from 2014 to 2024, raising $350,000 from investors, promising high profits by purchasing and reselling a special kind of Freon called R22. Instead, he used the funds to pay earlier investors and for personal expenses. U.S. Attorney's Office says Rothlubers provided fake excuses when investors asked for their money, like his accounts were frozen by the IRS, etc. He faces up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Rothlubers is also due in court this Friday for passing bad checks. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Checking the roads this hour, they have cleared that crash that was on 64 in Illinois between 255 and 111. We do still have a slowdown eastbound 44 approaching Vandeventer Avenue due to an earlier crash there. Right now, the two right lanes are closed. Let's get a check of the forecast. Here's Dave Murray.
Certainly, it was a cold morning. Temperature-wise today, about 29 with lots of sunshine going through the afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. The winds are going to turn to the south tonight. So the overnight low, only about 28 degrees, a slow rise in temperature, especially after midnight. Thursday, sunny, a little bit better, 41. Thursday night, clear and 29. Friday, partly sunny, though it's a day of increasing clouds. 48 for the high on Friday. We've got mainly periods of rain Friday night. Could be some big old sloppy wet snowflakes at the tail end. Chances of that are pretty slim. Then we start another cool down. Big Arctic high pressure system set to drop in. Saturday, the transition day, partly sunny, 37. Sunday, sunny and 21. And Monday for Martin Luther King Day, sunny and the high 15 on Monday. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now we have sunny skies, 20 degrees in Florissant. It's 21 in St. Peter's, 19 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
News, talk, and the heartbeat of St. Louis. This is KMOX.
As the wildfires continue to happen in California, a lot of devastation. One of the most devastating fires in the history of the country is happening right now. And we know that there will be an effect on insurance, and there has been some effects already before the fire even started from some insurance companies and the folks who live in that part of the country, and also how insurance rates might be affected around the country, including people who live here. To talk about that with us, the Director of Strategic Communication with the Insurance Information Institute is Janet Ruiz, and Janet joins us now on KMOX. We appreciate your time, Janet. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good, but my heart just goes out to all those who are affected by the wildfires. It is a tragic time, and we're seeing so much devastation.
What do people not understand? And let's start with just the insurance situation leading up to the wildfires, because our understanding was that a lot of the people who lived there in the weeks and months before this even happened, they were being either denied insurance or their policies were canceled or whatever. What exactly was going on?
So the insurance industry in California, the insurance companies have worked closely with the California Department of Insurance to responsibly insure those folks in California. So if an insurance company had too many policies in wildfire risk areas, they would maybe have sent out a non-renewal notice 75 days before the policy would go out of effect. And in California, we have a private program, not state-run, called the California Fair Plan. They will take all insurance, all people who need insurance in California, homeowners who may have gotten non-renewed. So insurance is available. It is a fire-only policy, so most people got that policy and another one. So insureds got quite a bit of notice and have been able to secure other insurance policies. We do work with the department and have a plan in place, as you suggested, to modernize all the operations and some of the outdated regulations in California that made it hard for insurance companies. They haven't made any profit in the last 10 years. For every dollar that they've spent, that they've taken in, for every dollar they've taken in, they have spent over $1.08 going out in claims and expenses. So we're getting that, fixed as we speak. But we will see most folks did purchase the California Fair Plan, and we will have people that are insured.
Yeah, what I did see with California Prop 103, that is insurance price controls, which every state has some type of insurance regulation, but that California ranks 50th in rate suppression, which goes to what you were saying, that it's just not viable. Insurers are selling below cost, well below rates and risk in California, and that they either have to pull out or they have to move that cost to other states that have looser regulations. So that's Harvard Business School study found that if you have looser regulations, like in Vermont, you're paying much higher rates to make up for the stricter regulations in a high-risk state like California.
It doesn't work that way because each state regulates the insurance premiums for that state. So California residents are paying for California losses. So it doesn't actually work that way. What we look at in California is the cost to rebuild. What are the risks, such as wildfire, theft? Is your home old? Have you replaced your roof? When we look at a policy in California, that's what we're looking at. So that actually isn't the way it works. It doesn't transfer to other states.
So if you live in Missouri or you live in Illinois, the people here will not feel the effects when it comes to their home insurance or anywhere else. It's not distributed in any way to them.
No, it is not distributed to other states. And that is because insurance departments are in every state regulating for their state. So they're looking at the risks and the cost to rebuild, et cetera, in each state.
So even a nationwide insurance like State Farm, who's all over the country, they don't spread it out because that's what they think. They think if there are floods and hurricanes in Florida and their rates go up, and then these wildfires in California, well, they're just going to distribute that around the country. So it does not work that way at all, you're saying. And it's not hidden.
No, it is not hidden. Californians pay for the risk in California, and Floridians pay for the hurricane risk in Florida and all other risks as well. But we do hear that from time to time, and that is incorrect, that we pay for another state. That would mean we are paying for hurricanes, which still are more expensive than wildfires, et cetera.
Yeah,
So
no.
while we're seeing rates go up across the country, it is due to the higher risks that they are facing in their states.
Okay. Yeah, that, and like I said, I can only speak to what just looking into this in the Harvard Business School study. If you're saying that that was wrong, that's not how it works. I can only say what I read there. So
I understand.
Is that confusing then? Because obviously with healthcare, we see issues with public health, whether it be knee replacements or obesity, and those issues do drive rates up across the country. So people would probably assume that in some way homeowners and that type of insurance would work the same way. Do they work in very, very different ways?
Healthcare is very different than property and casualty insurance, and has always been. Property and casualty is about replacing buildings and belongings and liability of homeowners for their actions. Those type of things are very different than healthcare. The one part of healthcare that is a part of the property casualty is usually seen more on auto insurance with the medical issues. But auto insurance policies have very low medical limits that get paid out unless it's liability if you're at fault. So that's really the only place. And then workers' compensation, that is another medical type insurance in the property casualty, but that's very regulated as well. So a little different than the overall healthcare industry.
So we are in an area that is unique, and here in the Missouri, Illinois, the bi-state area, one of the things that homeowners are most concerned about would be flooding, because we have multiple rivers and they tend to flood every now and then, and people will have damage or worse when that happens. Are you able to speak to how the insurance industry is going to adjust and how people are going to be affected as the climate continues to be a little volatile and we start to see more and more storms and more surges? Not just we talk a lot about Florida with the hurricanes and whatnot, but here we have to worry about water. So is it the same kind of thing that we're going to have to, in the future, maybe have to brace for higher premiums and that sort of thing?
Flooding is a big concern all across the country. We even see, like in the hurricane states, they have flooding, right? So that's different than their homeowners policy. So a flood policy can be bought either through the National Flood Insurance Program, or we are seeing many private insurers come back into the flood market whenever they can price things adequately so that they have enough money to pay the claims when the flooding occurs. Then we see more private insurers trying to write in the flood market. We have a lot more sophisticated catastrophe modeling now as time has gone on, and so they can really pinpoint where the larger risks are, what they are. The other key component to it is communities taking precautions, preparing for flooding, putting the necessary money into their infrastructure And we're seeing a lot of great examples of communities doing that. So the combination of having more private flood insurance and more community mitigation relating to flood, people building their homes up higher, not, having these basements that are filled with living quarters, et cetera. All these precautions are going to go into us being able to be resilient communities when we have these more severe weather events.
Janet Ruiz, the Director of Strategic Communication with the Insurance Information Institute. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
That is Janet Ruiz. So
it'll be interesting to see what happens.
So and what she says
Mhm.
is that you will not be bearing the costs of
Mhm.
these wildfires in California.
Yeah, and again, pointing out that hurricanes, right, have cost insurance companies much more than wildfires to date. I think the top 10 most expensive natural disasters have been hurricanes. I don't know. Again, I can only say what I've. This is not my area of expertise, obviously. And so I do.
Is it because insurance is boring?
That's the main reason. The Harvard, the business school is really interesting, looking at how the rates and how there are insurance rates, but then insurance companies have insurance called reinsurance, and reinsurance raises rates, which then forces insurance companies to raise their rates. So I don't know what's semantics and what's going to happen. I imagine just with more homes, more expensive homes, and more natural disasters, rates are going to go up no matter what.
In terms of bearing the cost of natural disasters around the country, it's not going to happen in terms of insurance, but it will happen with federal funding. So if the federal government, and I believe it was 100 days or 180 days that the Biden administration has pledged to give 100% to California for these wildfires. But you know what, though? That's fine. Look, if we ever have a natural disaster, whether it's a massive tornado or horrible flooding, which we have had happen here, we're going to expect the same sort of thing. And to me, that's what the government should be for. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji, this is KMOX.
What's it going to take for you to realize the IRS is in full-blown attack mode, and if you have IRS issues, your timely response is critical? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We certainly know the IRS has ramped up efforts because we're seeing a lot more clients with threats of intents to seize property or levy rights to property. If you have IRS issues, call the Lance Drury Firm today. Today, don't wait. Those IRS notices have hard deadlines for exercising your appeal rights. If you miss the deadline, your rights to a legal appeal are gone. Let the Lance Drury Law Firm get between you and the IRS today, and we'll help you manage your case to achieve the best outcome. IRS problems are serious legal matters, so call Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Don't wait. Call 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120, and schedule your free consultation with me, Lance Drury, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
CBS News special report. There is a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza. The BBC's Mark Lowen in Jerusalem.
We are likely to get a confirmation from the Qataris imminently. Then we expect the Israeli government to vote through that deal, probably as early as Thursday.
It will provide a pause in the 15-month war and the release of hostages in phases. Reporter Robert Berger on the first releases.
This could happen as early as Sunday. Not clear who they would be, probably women. By the way, of these 33, it would be women, children, and men over the age of 50.
Palestinian prisoners held in Israel would also be released, and it would also allow many Palestinians to return to what's left of their homes. The deal comes after months of negotiating. The agreement was pushed by both President Biden, who announced the outlines last spring, and President-elect Trump. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The 28th Winter Warm-Up is coming to Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village January 18th through the 20th. The event features 3 days full of nonstop Cardinals family-friendly fun, including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse, admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, plus access to the Cardinals Care Store, autographs, auctions, and an exhibit hall full of sports memorabilia and more. Tickets are on sale now. Proceeds benefit Cardinals Care and its mission to care for kids in the community. Find more details at cardinals.com/WWU.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
To understand what makes Diamonds Direct so different than other jewelry stores, you have to go back 60 years, when a diamond cutter became well known for his exceptional craftsmanship. His diamond cutting business flourished for decades. Then his sons got involved and started selling these exceptional diamonds to upscale jewelry stores here in America. After a few years, these wholesalers decided to change the game and started selling these precious diamonds direct to the public at the same prices they had sold to the jewelry stores. The no middleman concept became an instant success, and Diamonds Direct was born. Today, Diamonds Direct provides that extraordinary value to people all over America, leading the industry with the highest quality diamonds that still come straight from the best cutters, offered at the guaranteed best prices, period. Diamonds Direct, a truly revolutionary concept with a unique history, rooted in quality, committed to excellence, and always focused on value. Proud to call the Lou home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
A 2024 survey by Navitus Health Solutions reported that 48% of Americans have been unable to fill a needed prescription at least once due to the cost. RX Outreach, an online nonprofit mail-order pharmacy based in St. Louis, is committed to providing safe and affordable medications for everyone. They offer over 950 medicines for chronic illnesses and conditions and ship to all 50 states, regardless of insurance, without membership fees or copays. Contact RX Outreach at 314-222-0472 or visit RxOutreach.org.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
We're going to talk to Matt Pauley right after the 11:30 news. We'll talk about the SLU game last night. They lost to Virginia Commonwealth on the road. But Mizzou, men's basketball, got another huge win, another top 5 win for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that. Illinois gets a win yesterday. So Matt Pauley just after 11:30. And we're also getting closer to the winter warm-up, which happens at Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village. And guess where we're going to be, Amy?
We will be at Cardinals Nation Monday, January 20th, MLK Day, at Cardinals Nation, as I mentioned, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah.
A little bit of a different time, an early start for us, but then we're going to, at 11, there's also the inauguration. So we're going to have inauguration coverage. But from 9 to 11, Chris Ranji and I will be at Ballpark Village at Cardinals Nation.
You can come by and say hi to us.
Please say hi.
We'd love to see you. So we probably should touch on the Pete Hegseth hearing that happened yesterday. He was being vetted by the senators. He is the pick by Donald Trump to be the Department of Defense secretary.
Yeah.
And, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but we do have some of his questioning yesterday.
Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared?
Was that wrong? Should I not have done that?
You cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
I tell you, I got to plead ignorance on this thing.
I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk
at work.
I've worked in a lot of offices, and I tell you, people do that all the time.
Will you resign as Secretary of Defense if you drink on the job, which is a 24/7 position?
What about the whole Christmas spirit thing? Any flexibility there?
I mean, you're basically saying women, after they have children, can't ever serve in the military in a combat role. It's a silly thing to say.
What do you think? She's one of these feminists looking to get out of the house?
Dude, I didn't know it was going to go like that.
You know,
those are not the sorts of questions and responses I was expecting.
I want to know which senators were laughing in the background.
Do you? I think it was you.
Well, listen.
What a fun show.
What?
I don't mean this. I mean the.
I was like, I think we're going to hell.
I mean the hearings yesterday. Well, do you think that he bought a cashmere sweater for somebody with a red dot on it just to make up for everything he did wrong?
Wait, what?
Do you not remember that episode?
No.
That's the same episode.
Why do I not remember
Amy?
that at all? I just remember going, was that wrong?
That's the one where he sleeps with the maid
On the desk.
in the office, gets in trouble for
Yeah.
it, and then he tries to give Elaine that sweater, and it has an imperfection on it, so he got it for cheaper. And he thought, she won't notice the
Yeah.
dot, so he gives it to the lady.
Well,
I thought you were a Seinfeld person.
I am. I don't remember the sweater, but thanks for pulling that audio. Got to
That's
keep
good.
up with the nation's capital.
Matt Pauley will join us next. He is our sports fella. He's the host of Countdown to Opening Day, which is on tomorrow night, and every Thursday until we get to spring training. Going to be fun. He's next.
If you're planning to sell and also buy a home in the near future, I know it can be stressful. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty knows selling and buying your next home at the same time can be tricky, especially in our area. This is Debbie Monterey, and if you need to sell and buy at the same time, this message is for you. Gloria Liu has several great options for her home sellers, including her Sell and Stay program that gets you the most money possible for your current home and then allows you to stay put until you find your next home. No more stress, worries, or hassles or settling. Gloria Liu makes selling your St. Louis area home easy, and she's been doing this for more than 21 years. So why risk working with an average realtor when you can work with the best? The name to remember is Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Call 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
When can you retire? When should you tap your 401k? Will you have enough money to live on? We all have retirement questions that stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions and more so that you'll feel confident about the next phase of your life.
My job is to sit down with people and actually figure out what their wishes, hopes, and dreams are. It's about a standard of living, not an amount of money. It's how they want to live in retirement.
Join Steve every Saturday morning at 10 for the All Financial Hour right here on KMOX.
The 28th annual Winter Warm-Up is coming back to Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village this weekend, January 18th through 20th. Admission passes and player autograph tickets are on sale now. Team up with Cardinals Care to support St. Louis area children by purchasing your tickets now. It's one of the best events of the year, with family-friendly activities including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse and admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. Get more info now at KMOX.com/events.
At 11:30, we have sunny skies, 19 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. A ceasefire deal has been reached to pause Israel's war in Gaza and release dozens of hostages. The BBC's Mark Lowen has more from Jerusalem.
We have now just had a statement from a Hamas official saying that they have told the BBC that the movement, i.e. Hamas, has handed over its approval of the ceasefire agreement, which was the outstanding approval that we were waiting for because it seemed that the Israeli government negotiating team had approved it from their point of view.
In KMOX News at noon, St. Louis City Alderman asking whether snow removal can be approved at a special hearing this afternoon. We'll have a preview of that hearing. The forecast for today, sunny and cold, a high near 30. Clear to partly cloudy tonight with a low around 30. Right now we have sunny skies, 19 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Seeing the world around you is so important. So take care of your eyes. And why would you trust them to just anyone? The best doctors to see for your best vision are the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. Things like dry eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma. They do LASIK surgery at Ophthalmology Associates. And yes, they can check your eyes to see if your prescription is still the right one for you, for your glasses and contacts. This will be the most thorough eye exam that you have ever had in your life, because really your eyes are a window into the health of the rest of you. So please take care of your vision and see the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, or make your appointment today at youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
At Neovitin, we are all about supporting your nutrition, and that's why we are excited about our new Neovitin Omega-3 supplement. Neovitin Omega-3 is formulated with 1,200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids to help support healthy hearts. Our high-quality omega-3 fish oils are sourced from wild-caught fish and tested for heavy metals. With our convenient monthly subscription, you can get Neovitin Omega-3 delivered right to your door every month with no long-term obligations. Support your daily nutrition and sign up for a Neovitin Omega-3 subscription at neovitin.com today.
I'm Joe Pott. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
It is the Chris and Amy show, and it is time to talk to our guy, Matt Pauley. The winter warm-up is coming up. The Cardinals Caravan is coming up. It starts on Friday. And we had some good basketball happen last night. Not so much for SLU. We were hoping for a win against VCU. That did not happen. So let's bring in our guy, Matt Pauley. He's the host of Sports Open Line Countdown to Opening Day, which will be tomorrow night. Matt, what's going on?
Not much. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing great. Let's start with SLU. So that would have been a pretty big game for them had they gotten that win against Virginia Commonwealth, but they didn't look so hot.
No, it was not a great game for them last night, and they've never won in that building. So we saw really good things from them for the first 3 conference games, but going to VCU and getting a win there was just a little bit much for them.
All right, now let's talk about Mizzou.
Mm-hmm.
That is a top 5 win again.
Yeah.
So they beat Florida last night. They were up by 19 at one point, and they ended up winning that game. It's the second time they've beaten a top 5 team this year, and for them, that's pretty remarkable. They have not beaten a top 5 team on the road since 2012. Huge win for Mizzou last night.
Huge, and they certainly didn't get much help from the officiating last night either. There was a lot of things that went against them, and they still found a way to hold on. They're up big at halftime, and then they win. So that's a great win, as you mentioned. You look at their schedule and what they've done this year. They really haven't lost to anybody they weren't supposed to lose to. Maybe you can look at that first game against Memphis. They probably should have won that game, but it was the first game and it was on the road. There are the other losses are against Illinois and against Auburn, ranked number 2 at the time, and we see where they're at now. I mean, this is a really good Missouri team, and it was good to see them.
This is just a quick bookkeeping question, Matt. Now, this story came out this morning that the University of Missouri's athletics department had a $15 million budget deficit in the 2024 fiscal year. So they brought in Missouri Athletics $168 million, but they spent $183.2 million. This is not unheard of. It's not that it never happened in Mizzou history before. How common is it among big schools like an SEC school to have a deficit? And does this have anything to do with the changing nature of college sports?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I wish I had more of an answer for you. I don't know how common it is. It feels like most programs that are operating at that at that level generally are profitable, but it's expensive. It's expensive to run college athletics, and it's getting more expensive by the day. And it's going to get even more expensive because now the NIL stuff, that money is essentially going to be coming from the universities here coming up very, very soon. So it's hard for me to talk about how common this is. I do think it's $15 million is kind of a drop in the bucket for a lot of athletic departments. So it sounds like this really big number. I think when we talk about it, we maybe we make it a bigger deal than it actually is, but it is notable that essentially they had to take on a loan from the university.
All right, let's move to the Blues, who last night get a win over Calgary, which is good for them. I mean, we're past that halfway point of the season, but the Flames are in front of them in the standings. They are going to need to accumulate as many points as possible because their playoff position is precarious right now. That's a lot of alliteration I just did. So, good win for them.
Really good win. Now, good win in the sense of like what it stands for. I think you would like to see this team still be a little bit better from an offensive standpoint. They scored that first goal within the first minute, and then we don't hear from them again for quite some time. But when you look at what this means in the standings, and now they're going to play another game against Calgary, coming up back-to-back home games against the Flames. When you look at the standings and what this means, it's a really important win because they are now back within 3 points of the final playoff spot. Calgary is the final playoff team. They were 5 points back going in, so they would have been at 7 with a loss. It feels like, right, I think Colorado is going to be a playoff team. They're the other wild card team. So it feels like even though there's still a lot of hockey left to be played, it feels like we're getting to a point where it's going to be Calgary, Vancouver, or the Blues. I'm almost even pushing Utah at this point. It's going to be those 3 teams contending for that final playoff spot in the West.
Yeah, Chris Kerber was talking about the Blues' position over the next, starting yesterday with yesterday's game, over the next couple of games, and said you could. It's not a huge jump, but you could look at these 2 games as the trajectory setter for the rest of the season. That so goes the next 2 or 3 games, so goes the Blues' playoff chances, which was kind of, that's a lot of pressure to put on those 2 or 3 games. But as you mentioned, it's against a team like Calgary. If you're battling for that spot, you can't throw away many points.
No. And again, if they, not to make too much of one single game, but Amy, if they lose that game last night, I think it's incredibly challenging to see a path to the playoffs where with the win, you still can kind of see it.
All right, let's talk some Cardinals here. As I mentioned, the Caravan happens on Friday, or at least it begins on Friday. We got the winter warm-up. Amy and I will be at Ballpark Village at Cardinals Nation from 9 to 11. We're going to be broadcasting there. So as we get closer to the winter warm-up, it's one of those things where I think a lot of Cardinals fans are just, they love when baseball season happens. There may not be quite as much excitement this year just based on what they've done or what they've not done during the offseason. So as we sit here about a month from spring training, how do you feel about where they are?
Not great, because there's still so many unknowns at this point. The Nolan Arenado thing is still hanging out there. They haven't done anything in terms of adding free agents or anything. So I don't feel great. I don't feel great in terms of the team they are, but more importantly, I don't feel great about the fact that they have advanced what they're trying to do in terms of giving young kids runway and being able to just give opportunities to younger players. Now, there's still a lot of time. When I talked to John Mozeliak last week, certainly I knew that he made it very clear that they're still talking to a number of teams and there's still lots of time to get stuff done. And he talked openly about adding to the bullpen, adding a right-handed bat. So there's still things that they want to do. And I think there are going to be things that they do at some point in time. But right now, I don't think there's any reason to feel really good about the offseason because all they've done is let free agents walk. They just haven't done much of anything.
What's the likelihood of some sort of surprise, and I guess significant surprise is what I'm asking here, between now and when they have to report?
I don't think high. Because, again, I think the most that they do is add a piece here and a piece there that can either help in the bullpen or I guess the biggest surprise would be Nolan Arenado walks into camp and they say that, you know what, he's going to be our third baseman. He's going to be our third baseman all season long. We've made the decision that we don't want to trade him. I get that would be a surprise to me, but I don't think that's even likely. So, no, I don't expect there to be a surprise.
All right. So they are where they are. They're still trying to deal Nolan Arenado. Is there a date that you think they get to? And if he's not gone by then, he's probably just here. Is it spring training? Is it the middle of spring training? How do you look at that?
Trade deadline. Like I'm not being facetious when I say that. I don't think there is, because things can happen.
I mean pre-season. I mean, before the season starts, do you think it's likely that, or possible even, that he gets dealt once they report to camp?
Yeah, I think that's possible. If an injury happens, at this point, that might even be more plausible depending on what happens, because he's got a very select number of teams that he wants to go to. The Dodgers don't seem to be really interested in him, right? So let's say Max Muncy goes down with an injury in spring training. Well, then all of a sudden, things look a whole lot different when it comes to Los Angeles.
All right. Well, I'm just hoping that they do something here that gets people excited. The problem is I'm looking at the rest of the division and where the rest of the division sits, and it just look, I know it's the Central, anything can happen. I just don't have a ton of confidence that what goes on from now until the middle of the season is like I don't know. I want to say that anything can happen here, and it can. I know that's true. But it's really tough when you look at everybody else and what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, look, not a lot has been done in the Central. The Cubs made, a key move in going, but even the Cubs, I don't think the Cubs are world beaters at this point. The Brewers appear to be worse than they were last year. That never seems to impact them. If the Cardinals get major steps forward from Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, this team absolutely can be contending for a playoff spot. But to me, that's the key thing here. Those guys have to turn into middle of the order run producing bats, and they haven't been that yet. If they're not that, then I think it's a lot tougher to even squint and see this thing going the way Cardinals fans would like it to go.
All right, just quick question about some of the football games coming up this weekend. It makes sense. This statement is it makes sense. It's just plain math, but I hadn't said it out loud, and that was Patrick Mahomes hasn't played since Christmas Day, and he hasn't played a game since Christmas Day. So it will be, I think.
So he's going to suck now, right?
Well, it'd be 25 days between, starts for him. Does that matter? Is it more of a good thing because he had a hurt ankle, or does it mean you could lose some sharpness?
It doesn't have zero impact, but I think the impact of getting healthy and not playing in games since then outweighs any negatives of there maybe being some rust when the game gets started. This is the Chiefs. This is Patrick Mahomes. This team knows how to flip the proverbial switch when they need to. Again, it's going to be a home game. So again, I'm not saying it has zero impact. I think it's a really, really legitimate question for sure. But I think the decision that the Chiefs made on not playing Mahomes and some other players in the final couple weeks and having the bye week last week, it's going to be that's the positives definitely outweigh the negatives.
I think we talked about this, right? Where there were people upset with them. Really, it was just Bengals fans who were upset with them for not playing their starters in the final game of the season because they were resting them like any other team does. That's stupid, right?
It's beyond dumb. You worry about yourself first. And I think I said this before, if if Kansas City in that game would have been at the 1 yard line with, in a game that they were losing by 3 and they took a knee to lose purposefully and get Cincinnati out, well, then that's a different circumstance. But they didn't do that. Cincinnati was not on their mind when they made the decisions that they made. All they cared about was getting themselves right. Yeah, no, it's anybody who thinks that's a thing, I don't think completely understands sports.
All right, so they will play at 3:30 on Saturday. There are 2 games on Saturday, Chiefs and Texans, and then the Commanders and Lions play at 7. I know we have the Chiefs broadcast, or the game. We will have the game here on KMOX if people want to listen in. So, in fact, I believe we have that game, and if they make it to the AFC Championship, we'll be airing that one as well.
Yeah, we have everything up until the Super Bowl when it comes to the Chiefs. And then I don't know, like this past weekend, we ran the Saturday games. I'm not sure what else we have this weekend. If we do.
You got Sports Open Line tonight, short show before women's basketball, St. Louis University women's basketball. What do we have tonight, Matthew?
Steve Weish is going to be on the program for a little bit.
Steve Weish?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I like Steve
going
Weish.
To be on this evening. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, I got about 45 minutes. We'll see what else we have up our sleeve before all is said and done.
Go get him.
All right.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
Steve Weish, NFL Network.
There you go.
It's a big dog.
There you go.
So that'll be tonight, 6 o'clock to 6:45. As Matt mentioned, there is women's basketball tonight. They take on G-Dub. You know what G-Dub is, Amy?
George Washington.
That is right. I really didn't think you
George Mason.
No.
I know. This is the Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
I'm so mad at you.
An important message from SNL Coins. SNL Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to SNL at 544-3600. SNL Coins, 544-3600. Or visit SNL Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call SNL, 544-3600.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. It's the biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year. Leave all the 2024 dirt behind with the new year. Out the door 24. Start your freshest year yet and clean 2024 right out of your home. Most importantly, it's the perfect time to talk about all of our services to set the stage for who we are, what makes us unique, and talk about our cleaning services for 2025. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. 24% off all of our services. That's the best deal we've ever had. 24% off of all of our cleaning services. At Zero Res, we have a 4.9 rating on Google with over 5,900 reviews. The Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee. Easy to get what you pay for. Yes, Zero Res absolutely stands behind every single cleaning. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com. Again, 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. Spell it forwards or backwards, it spells the same, Zero Res.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how, learn now. Let Del Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Del's team and get educated now at Lifestyles Unlimited. Text the word radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007. Join for just $297. Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's radio to 88007.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
I'm Megan Lynch. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Do you realize, Amy Markscores, that today, January 15th, 2024, it has been 16 years since Chelsea Sullenberger.
Sully
Sullenberger landed that plane in the Hudson River.
16 years. I'm
Sully Sullenberger.
Do you?
Sully
So I
Sullenberger?
saw that this morning. In fact, we had a text message, and we appreciate all your texts at 314-436-7900 who mentioned that. And I thought, 16 years.
Yeah.
There's no way. Doesn't it feel like it was 5 years ago?
5 years ago feels right. And when you go back and you look at what Sully did and landing that massive airliner on the Hudson and how he had to keep the nose of the plane up to the very, very last second, and how the plane had to be even because if one wing touched the water before the other wing, the plane would absolutely crash and rip
Or
apart.
the tail or the nose.
Or
It had
the-
to be perfectly
perfect.
level.
It's actually amazing.
It's one of the most miraculous things that anybody
Yeah.
has ever done.
Miracle
Because
on the
how many
Hudson.
times have you ever seen a commercial airliner, or that you know of,
Mm-hmm.
crash into water and it's not a crash? We knew those planes floated, but that was the first time
Yeah.
that I've ever actually seen it.
Man,
Like
I
those
think
those
I've-
planes are designed to float on water.
They
If
just very rarely get a chance to float.
no, because they all just go down.
there's not a lot of plane floating that you see. That's amazing.
You ever seen the SNL sketch with Tom Hanks and
No, but just you talking about it, I
And-
was giggling.
and Alec Baldwin?
No.
And the premise of it is it's Sullenberger's first flight after all of
Yeah.
that happened, and he's still tasted himself,
Yeah.
right? Like, and he's sitting in the first chair, and Alec Baldwin comes in and is like, he's the other pilot. He's like, no, actually, I'm first chair, and so he gets all salty about it. Like, how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you take Sully out of the chair?
Good morning, folks. This is your captain, and I'm Sully. Should be a pretty smooth ride today. Hero of the Hudson. Weather in Seattle is 77 degrees, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight. Brace for impact. Just kidding.
Such a good
Pretty
sketch.
good. Pretty good. Hey, speaking of celebrity actors, Brad Pitt. Okay, apparently there's a new scam of a Brad Pitt impersonator or multiple Brad Pitt impersonators messaging fans for money, saying this is Brad Pitt, and apparently, like, I think you're attractive, and so forth and so forth. A French woman
Nice.
fell for this scam so hard, she ended up losing her marriage. She divorced her husband and lost $850,000.
No way. There's no way.
Yeah.
So Brad Pitt is asking her for money, and she believed that Brad Pitt needed her money.
Yeah.
What was he saying? Was he saying Angelina took it all? I'm destitute. I need your help.
So it says
There's just no way that's
she was
true.
a 53-year-old French interior designer named Anne, and she detailed her experience on France 24, which is one of their news stations. And she said it at first, the figure reaching out to her claimed to be Brad Pitt's mom. And it's saying she told me that her son needed someone like me.
And also $800,000.
Well, yeah, she said the scammers told her that Brad Pitt needed funds to cover his kidney treatment, which he couldn't pay himself.
Really?
Because of his divorce proceedings were freezing all of his bank accounts. So to convince Anne that the real Brad Pitt was behind the account, the scammers sent doctored and AI-generated images of Brad Pitt in a
Come on,
hospital
dude.
bed saying,
All right.
"See, this is me."
All right.
And she said, quote, "He knew how to speak to a woman."
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay. All right. So Brad
That's
Pitt.
awful. And she's like, why did they pick someone like me? I'm like, I think because you were
Well,
dumb
clearly,
enough to fall for it.
So Brad Pitt is worth an estimated $400 million.
Mhm.
Even if Angelina has half of that,
Yeah.
he still has $200 million. I don't know how much a kidney surgery is.
Yeah.
It's not $200 million, no. Though it's definitely less than that.
So a spokesperson for Brad Pitt said it's awful that scammers take advantage of fans' strong connection with celebrities, but this is an important reminder to not respond to unsolicited online outreach, especially from actors who have no social media presence. I feel like that's a little shade.
That is so awesome.
Yikes. That's
I mean, not
sad.
awesome.
It's so sad.
800,000.
And her marriage.
Did she get the money back or no?
I don't know.
Although, listen, if it really was Brad Pitt, you got to leave your husband for Brad Pitt.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? Yeah. Sean Malone has been covering some city-specific issues like the Rams settlement money. Also had a conversation with Police Chief Robert Tracy. We're going to talk to Sean Malone from the KMOX newsroom when we come back.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit lance.drurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121, 800-329-2121.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Do you want to kickstart planning for your retirement this year? I know the quick and easy way to do this. It's a 3-hour adult education class. It's called Retirement Planning 101. It's almost like getting the Cliff Notes, right? On how you could make your money go a lot further in retirement. Hi, it's Sue Thomas. And this is a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects with decades of financial planning experience. Now, they hold these at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You're going to learn about IRA and 401k withdrawals, tax saving strategies, Roth conversions, Social Security, and more. And there's no cost. Just bring 3 canned goods for the St. Louis Crisis Nursery. Now, there are still openings for classes this month and next. So call 314-947-2012, 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
At 12 noon, we have sunny skies, 20 degrees downtown at the Arch. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Megan Lynch. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire deal, clearing the way for the release of dozens of hostages held in Gaza. Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent for CBS, Margaret Brennan, has more on the agreement.
Incredibly difficult to implement, but what it could mean is that as soon as this weekend, as soon as Sunday, you could see hostages released from Gaza, handed over by Hamas back to Israel.
In return, Israel will release hundreds of Palestinian prisoners that allows hundreds of thousands of displaced people to return to their homes in Gaza. On Capitol Hill, confirmation hearings for some of President-elect Donald Trump's top cabinet picks.
Marco Rubio telling his fellow senators the post-war global order of free trade and movement of peoples
is not just obsolete. It is now a weapon being used against us.
Also suggesting that as Secretary of State, he'd work to get Russia and Ukraine to the table. Florida's Pam Bondi saying that as Attorney General, she'd return the Department of Justice to its core mission.
Keeping Americans safe and vigorously prosecuting criminals.
Bondi promising to work free of partisan politics, while at the same time declining to dial back assertions that the 2020 election was stolen. Vicki Barker, CBS News.
Only about 2 in 10 U.S. adults surveyed say they're extremely or very confident the Justice Department will act in a fair and nonpartisan manner during Mr. Trump's second term. That's according to a poll from the Associated Press Newark Center for Public Affairs Research. The poll also finds Americans' faith in the neutrality of the FBI is similarly low, with even some Republicans expressing uncertainty in both agencies. U.S. regulators say they are banning the dye called Red 3 from the food supply. The move comes nearly 35 years after it was barred from cosmetics such as lipsticks because of potential cancer concern. They'll be talking about snow removal efforts today at City Hall.
This is an opportunity for the public to attend and voice their concerns and share their thoughts on and experiences of the storm and what they think needs to change.
That's Alderwoman Ann Schweitzer, chair of the Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee, speaking on Total Information, Emma, about their meeting this afternoon. There were staffing issues, she says, but no, they don't plow side streets because the plows are too wide. She says it was an all-hands-on-deck effort, but they didn't benefit from the sun and usual warm-up to melt the snow.
We've had a unique situation here where not only was there a lot of snow, but then it ended up being cold for so long and getting even a little bit more. And then now we have the ice situation. So that presents a really unique challenge for the city.
Schweitzer says they're particularly hearing from Dogtown, where icy covered and hilly roads have been vexing for residents. Has bird flu reached St. Louis yet?
St. Louis City Director of Health, Dr. Monty Davis, tells KMOX it has not, with only one reported case in the state of Missouri so far outside of the region. She tells KMOX bird flu is not as serious as COVID at this time.
Cases we've seen thus far have either been mild or moderate. There has been a reported first in the country ever death. But if you compare that to how quickly COVID was spreading through the community, there's a big difference there.
Dr. Davis advises the level of concern could change if bird flu continues to spread and adapts. For those concerned, Dr. Davis suggests poultry farmers and bird owners wear PPE when handling their animals and recommends the rest of the public stay informed about any future spread of the disease reaching the region. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, Explore St. Louis announcing its pick to head the agency after the retirement of Kitty Ratcliffe. It's Brad Dean, who will take over as president and CEO in mid-February. Dean has 2 decades of experience in tourism and destination marketing, most recently as the head of Discover Puerto Rico. Dean said in a statement that the future of St. Louis is full of promise, and he's thrilled to be part of the journey. The Dow from Stifel this hour up 651 points at 43,169. The S&P 500 up 94 points at 5,937. Let's get a check of the forecast now. Here's Dave Murray.
Sunshine continues as we go through our Wednesday afternoon, the high about 29. Tonight, partly cloudy, 28 for the low, so we're not going to drop much. Winds turn to the south. We'll actually see a little rise in temperature after midnight. Thursday, sunny, 41 for the high, 29 for the low Thursday night. Friday, partly sunny. They'll look for increasing clouds. 48 on Friday. We'll take that. Periods of rain. Maybe a couple of sloppy, wet snowflakes Friday night, but it's mainly rain. And then here comes another big old Arctic high-pressure system. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We have sunny skies this hour, 22 degrees in Florissant, 24 in St. Peters, and 20 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news, KMOX.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX, hour 3 before Dave Glover starts at 1, and we hang out with the Dave Glover show for that first hour. We've got Sean Malone, KMOX reporter, with us here from the KMOX newsroom, a man that we know for a fact would never fall for an $800,000 Brad Pitt scam. and he's with us here. Do you know about the scam?
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Brad Pitt would waste his time talking to me.
Do you think he would need to reach out to somebody to help him pay a medical bill?
I don't think so. He's got a lot of pretty successful movies. I don't think he would need to reach out
He's
to
only
little old me for some help.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
He in the scam said she froze all his bank accounts because of the divorce.
And now
he's his mom. It was his
Awesome.
mom who reached out. First.
Mhm.
Anyway.
All right, where's this? Hey, so you've been covering the Rams settlement money saga, which is ongoing.
Maybe we can help Brad Pitt with some of that money.
You know what?
Oh my gosh.
Can we allocate some of the Rams money to
To
Brad
Brad
Pitt and
Pitt's.
his kidney surgery?
I don't know. I know there's another bill that was passed last session that forgave medical debt. So maybe if Brad Pitt became a St. Louis City
Well,
resident,
he's from
he got
Missouri.
his surgery here in St. Louis, and he fell into debt with it. Maybe we could have him. He could be the newest resident of St. Louis to get his medical debt forgiven.
Like I said, he's from Missouri, so maybe he qualifies.
There we go.
So where are we right now?
The two bills were discussed in committee yesterday, and this is the first time we kind of got to see how these bills have evolved. In particular, the bill that would spend the money now versus later. Yesterday on Total Information AM, I kind of summarized these two bills as if St. Louis City has a lottery ticket and you can get the lump sum payment right now and spend all that money sooner rather than later, or you can spread the money out over time like you win the lottery and you get more out of it. That's kind of the two approaches that are in front of the city at this point on how to do it. But now that we've seen substitutions and amendments introduced, there is a bit of a gravitation towards one another with these two bills. They're still quite a bit of ways apart from one another, especially in terms of the timeline. But the bill that was first introduced that would spend the money more urgently adopted the economic guidelines or financial guidelines, if you will, that were in the other bill to spend the money over time. So keeping, all the money that would be allocated is subject to an audit. That was written into the bill as well. So that way they can continue to check up on, hey, is this money going towards the things it's supposed to? Meanwhile, an amendment was introduced on the other bill to spend the money over time that kind of matches where the money would be spent on the bill that's more immediate. So the bill that's immediate focuses the money, especially for infrastructure, on downtown, North City, and Southeast City. An amendment was introduced on the bill sponsored by Alderwoman Alicia Saunier, also backed by Aldermanic President Megan Green and St. Louis City Mayor Tashara Jones, to focus their infrastructure money first on downtown, North City, and Southeast City as well. I already felt like that bill had the inside track to getting passed because obviously with the backing from the mayor, it needs to not just be passed, but needs a veto-proof majority to override the mayor as well. But now I think that they've focused the infrastructure spending in that bill to spend the money over time on those regions that have a more dire need and would see a better return on investment when you look at downtown being responsible for 20% of the city's tax revenue. I think that could potentially get more people on board that maybe are kind of a 50-50 split on the two bills. I think that might kind of draw some people towards that bill and say, oh, you know what, this is one I certainly can get behind.
So I hate to be cynical.
No, you don't. You love it. You love it.
No, it's
when it
not.
comes to St. Louis, you love it.
No, St. Louis is doing this to me. I used to be like the squirrel and over the hedge. I used to get so happy and things are great and people are great. And now I'm like, this is awful. It's all awful and everyone's terrible. That's what being in the news and being in the city of St. Louis makes you feel. And here's why I wonder, we're deciding, where's the money going to go? Where's the money going to go? Right now, they are strictly just talking about the areas to which they'll allocate the funds. Are they talking about the execution at all? Because when you look at like the ARPA funds and the absolute disaster the North City Grant Program has been, it's one thing to say, we're going to put the Ram settlement money to North City. Then it's a whole other thing to say, but how are you going to do that? And who is going to do that?
Yeah, and the two bills have two different approaches with that. It's the bill that would spend the money in a more expedited manner, sends it to the Board of Public Service. And that bill focuses the majority of the money on infrastructure and building rehabilitation, buildings that are crumbling and things like that you see throughout the city. But even Alderman Rasheen Aldridge pointed out in committee when, asking questions about this bill is that you may want to spend that money sooner rather than later, but it's going to be hard to prioritize that money because there's still the ARPA dollars that now that they've all been allocated, they have to be spent by the end of 2026.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you're sitting there and you've got this money that will last indefinitely, as long as you want it to before you cash a check, and you've got this money that expires in 2026, you're going to spend the money that expires first. So the Board of Public Service will probably wind up having to prioritize that spending first as opposed to the other one. Meanwhile, the other legislation, when I say spread the money over time, it's in two different manners. Obviously some of it would increase with or manners of growth with getting more money out of it. Obviously there's interest that you would be generating with the money continuing to sit in accounts. Out of the $250 million that the city has, I believe it's ballooned to 277 at this point now from interest. I think that's the number. I'm working off the top of my head with that number in particular, but it has grown through interest over time while they've been working through the ARPA dollars over the last couple of years. But not only would it generate interest, they want to use it as the local match for state and federal grants in a lot of cases. So if there's a state grant that offers $5 million for infrastructure repair, repairing roads and potholes and things of that nature, but the local match is $5 million, they would pull some money out of a fund specific to repairing infrastructure, $5 million, and putting it towards that. They would also be able to use it to get access to loans. So they would get a loan for X amount of dollars and then be able to pull from this over time to pay off that loan. So that would be overseen by a couple of different boards that are public-private partnerships that would kind of oversee the various different funds that are set up. And in that long-term bill, there's a number of funds. There's 3 core ones. But even within those, there's about 3 or 4 sub funds within each of them. So it would go towards a lot of different things besides just infrastructure, building repair, early child care, subsidizing that for the city to try to draw workers to the city. Both first, it would go towards city employees. After that, if it does well and it can be afforded, they would expand it to the rest of the city as well. Subsidizing secondary education for city employees as well is another thing that they want to put some of that money towards. But again, this is money that would be slowly pulled out over time, and much of it would be going as a local match towards federal and state grants.
Sean Malone from the KMOX newsroom is covering this story and another. You spoke to St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy about the what they are calling a drop in crime over the year 2024. And I know there's been some skepticism about the reporting, and Amy talked about her skepticism of it. In your conversation with the police chief, what did you find out?
The numbers do show that crime is falling. And one thing that's interesting, there is some talk about whether or not the reporting has changed. And there was, and I'll get into this here, in 2020, it was announced, or 2019, I forget when exactly, that the FBI was going to change from one system of reporting to another. But in terms of how, for example, homicides are counted, that has not changed how homicides are counted. Murder and non-negligent manslaughter are both counted as a homicide under the old system, UCR, and the new system, NIBRS. In fact, if you look at how both systems categorize homicide, it is the same verbatim definition, one to the other. So in terms of murder, that number, one versus the homicides, that hasn't changed. And that shows that murder has fallen for another year in a row for the city of St. Louis. It was 160 last year. It's not a huge decline like we saw in 2020, or excuse me, it was 160 in 2023. It wasn't a huge decline like we saw in 22 to 23, but it's down to 150 murders now compared to 201 in 2022. So the city's still in that way trending in the right direction. Shootings, though, did go up in the city slightly. So compared to 2023 and 2024, there were 587 shooting incidents in 2024 compared to 554 in 23. One criticism has been that the NIBRS system categorizes if there's a shooting and 2 people are shot, that's one shooting. But they also did provide shooting victims as a number as well. That did go up. A little bit less drastic, 675 in 2024 compared to 645 in 2023. So those shooting incidents and shooting victims both did go up a little bit, but otherwise across the board, other than burglary, which went up 3%, Sexual assault was way down 22%. Robbery was down 5.5%. Felony theft down 12.5%. Auto theft dropped 32% in the city.
So, quick question, because this was circulating online.
Mhm.
You've looked at the numbers. Was Colin Brown's murder on Highway 55, the CBC hockey player, was that included?
And that I still haven't gotten an answer yet. From what I've been told, it's included in the murder number, but it still hasn't popped up on the map yet. And that's what I'm trying to figure out as to why that hasn't popped up. In terms of the NIBRS reports, it has not shown the December numbers yet. Those, at least as of yesterday when I looked for them, were not available. So that's something I'm continuing to follow up on, is whether or not Colin Brown's murder was included in those 150.
Yeah,
My understanding is that it was, but again, it still hasn't shown up on the crime map at this point.
Yeah, and just like, quickly, because we were talking about the numbers and why they're hard to know, with the NIBRS system, some of the reports were incomplete when that was first initiated several years ago. And then I know several years ago, for instance, the justifiable homicides, like if two gang members shot each other, it was like considered like self-defense, but that's not anymore, is what I understand.
Justifiable homicide is still counted. It was before as a separate category. It still is now, even with the system change. And justifiable homicide, it's not necessarily like two people like that are in a shootout. It's someone breaks into your home and in self-defense, you shoot this person. You're not getting charged with murder.
Right.
That's a justifiable homicide.
That was my
instance.
understanding. Yes. And that's how it is now. And again, this was just with the numbers and
Yeah.
why I think people have some skepticism. It's okay. So what is counted as what? And so, and we'll get back. You'll get back to us when you find
I haven't
out
seen how
about
many
the
justifiable
maps. Yeah.
homicides there were this year. I know last year it was 6. So I know people were trying to argue that was the city, skewing the numbers quite a bit. But again, from 2022 to 23, it went from 201 to 160. So it's like, yes, it's 6. That fine. If you want to lump that in, that still showed quite a decline. It's not like there were 50 cases of justifiable homicide that the city had. Then you might look at that and think, okay, wait, something weird is going on here. If, almost a third of the homicides in the city were considered quote unquote justified. But, with the old UCR system and the NIBRS system, justifiable homicide was not considered. It was just murder and non-negligible manslaughter. Those were the two that counted as homicide.
Sean, great reporting, which the people can get on KMOX.com and here on the air, the Odyssey app as well. Sean Malone, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
That is one of our fantastic reporters here at KMOX. We were just having this meeting yesterday with people, people who are important in the building, talking about how great this newsroom is and how there's just nothing like it in the city. Nothing like it.
It's awesome. It is awesome and necessary.
I know it's self-congratulatory, but it's true.
Well, we're not reporters.
There are other good,
we're not congratulating ourselves.
No, not us, but the station. There are other good reporters and good newsrooms, but nobody delivers it in real time like KMOX, baby. It's Chris and Amy.
Our favorite reason to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler? Free service for life with no fine print. That's right. When you buy your engagement ring or any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, you will never have to pay a dime in the future for sizing, cleaning, or routine maintenance. Even if she accidentally knocks out a side accent diamond, Diamonds Direct will replace it free. Now, other stores claim to offer warranties, but the catch is that they won't honor it unless you bring your ring in for regular inspections. But at Diamonds Direct, inspections are never required. There's no gotcha clause. No fine print, no looking for ways to void the warranty. Plain and simple, at Diamonds Direct, we stand behind what we sell, and we're committed to service it at no charge for life, period. It's all part of our commitment to provide you with the ultimate in value and total confidence before, during, and long after your purchase. Diamonds Direct, the jeweler you can trust with a no questions asked 100% free lifetime warranty with no strings attached. Come see us to learn more. Proud to call the Lou home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been hurt on the job, you need the best. Onder Law. Hurt on the job? Call Onder Law today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, You can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, UWD is offering an amazing deal. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows for free. That's right. Every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 free. Absolutely free, no limit, and 36 months of no interest financing. That's 3 years to pay your windows without a single cent of interest. Call Universal Windows Direct today at 314-334-2522 to schedule your free in-home estimate, or visit universalwindowsdirect.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
Our story is about a people, a city, and a legendary river that runs through it. It lives in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. It's the story of St. Louis. Now you can get the news that brings us together in the palm of your hand with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch app. Get breaking news alerts that keep you on top of St. Louis's biggest stories, local weather to help you prep for that next storm, video and podcasts that let you hear directly from newsmakers. Download the St. Louis Post-Dispatch app wherever you get your apps.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's hear this tiger purr, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Breaking news, entertaining conversation, and live sports. This is KMOX.
Good morning, Chris and Amy. I'm listening to you guys on the Odyssey app. You are my workout partners. I get my 10,000 steps in, or my 5,000 or my 5 miles on my stationary bike every morning with you guys. I've been listening to KMOX for decades, and I like and appreciate the direction they are going to, a more balanced coverage, and your show is a perfect example of that. Keep up the good work and have a great day.
All right.
Whoa.
Did we pay that dude?
That felt a little professional.
It really did. Was that somebody's dad?
Is that someone who works here?
I'm going to go find out. Probably not. I think a lot of people agree with Chuck.
Thank you so much, Chuck. That is
Thanks,
awesome.
Chuck.
You're the best.
And you can leave a voice. It's like we paid the guy. He mentioned everything you need to mention. The Odyssey app, the voice message.
He's awesome.
How great this show is, which he's right about every one of those things.
We could find out if it was someone who worked here. I don't think it is, but just in case, by sending an email to the entire staff.
All right. I think we have all come to an agreement.
Yeah.
Have we not?
I think so.
As a society,
yeah,
that reply all emails are unnecessary. In fact, not just unnecessary, but discouraged. And you should not continue an email chain, even if it is let's say, for example, we hire somebody new, and there is a congratulations, welcome
to Bob Smith
to KMOX or to Odyssey St. Louis or to wherever you work.
And then everybody
has to reply all,
"Hi, Bob.
Congratulations, Bob.
Hey.
Welcome to the team. We love you, Bob."
So what happened yesterday?
Well, you started it. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I was complicit because you said, I'm going to email this. And I said, if you do. So here's what happened. We got an email that someone dropped a glove in the garage.
Parking lot.
To the entire company.
The only thing funnier than hey, I found this, does this belong to anybody email is who's parking in my space emails.
Yeah. So
is this your car?
Glove found in a staff parking space. And then one person responded, this is what, the glove looks like. And then someone else responded that the glove had been claimed. And all of this, this glove drama went through the whole company. And then Chris Ranji responded.
Well, yeah, so there was the original email like, hey, here's a photo of this glove. Is this yours? We found it in the parking lot. And one person's like, that glove looks like a werewolf hand. And then somebody else said, oh, the glove has been claimed. Yeah. Well, I said, it's not mine. I left my gloves at home.
And so I hit reply all. I left my gloves at home too.
And then I said, are you sure? I see your gloves on your desk.
And I hit reply all. No, those are Matt Pajeski's gloves.
And then I said, oh.
And I said, yeah.
So we kept it going to the point where our boss, Steve Moore, texted us and said, stop replying all. And I said, I told him, and this is true. I am teaching. Amy, are teaching a lesson to all of the people replying all. Because we've had a number of folks over the last 24 hours come up to us and say, what's with the reply all? Like, well, now you know how it feels. Stop doing it.
It was really funny. I was laughing so hard. It was actually might have been one of the most empowering things I've ever done is just hit reply all and have an entire conversation with Chris Ranji.
And you were sitting right by me.
About gloves.
Oh, just
I think we made some people's day. I think there were people sitting at their desk feeling sad, and they saw our reply all conversation, and I think they laughed out loud. I think we made people smile.
Here's what I know. If you are about to reply all to your company, don't. I don't care what it is. Just don't do it. And you will win the admiration of everybody in your office. Don't reply all ever. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. This is KMOX.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-214-3777. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Help USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-214-3777. 800-214-3777. 800-214-3777.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
An important message from SNL Coins. SNL Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to SNL at 544-3600. SNL Coins, 544-3600. Or visit SNL Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call SNL 544-3600.
At 12:30, we have sunny skies, 20 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a ceasefire deal, clearing the way for the release of dozens of hostages held in Gaza. Correspondent Margaret Brennan says the deal caps months of U.S. efforts to broker an agreement.
Comes in the final days of the Biden administration. It was President Biden who sent his diplomatic team saying, get this done. In fact, U.S. negotiator Brett McGurk has been there for the better part of a month trying to get negotiations closed.
In exchange for the release of some hostages, Israel will free hundreds of Palestinian prisoners and allow hundreds of thousands of displaced people to return to their homes in Gaza. Millions of Southern Californians nervously keeping watch as winds begin picking up during a final round of dangerous wildfire weather forecast for the region. The death toll stands at 25. Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley offered an update on the Palisades fire.
When you look at the aerial view of the Palisades fire, you may not be able to tell, but however, infrared flights last night indicated there are still numerous hotspots burning within the fire footprint.
Our weather is sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. We are looking for mostly sunny skies today. It will still be cold with a high near 30. Clear to partly cloudy, breezy tonight with an overnight low near 30. And then tomorrow, sunny with some clouds, breezy, a little warmer, a high around 40. Right now, we have sunny skies, 20 degrees downtown at the Arch. If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter. overheaddoorstlouis.com. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Tree Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. A 2024 survey by Navitus Health Solutions reported that 48% of Americans have been unable to fill a needed prescription at least once due to the cost. RX Outreach, an online nonprofit mail-order pharmacy based in St. Louis, is committed to providing safe and affordable medications for everyone. They offer over 950 medicines for chronic illnesses and conditions and ship to all 50 states, regardless of insurance, without membership fees or copays. Contact RX Outreach at 314-222-0472 or visit rxoutreach.org.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-250-7807. 800-250-7807. You have nothing to lose but everything to gain. 800-250-7807.
From the Arch to the airwaves, KMOX is St. Louis.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. Have we mentioned the Odyssey app and the voice messaging feature where you can send us a message whenever you want?
I'm sitting here listening to you guys discuss the Cardinals baseball season. And last time I checked, we are officially in a rebuilding year. We're going to suck, and it's freaking January. Can we talk about something else? Like, have you guys ever considered doing maybe like a local high school sports spotlight in the wintertime? You know, you got a lot of good high school basketball programs around here.
Whoa, come on. Come on. I love the high school sports.
I feel like if he's like, listen, it's January,
not
we're going to be
nice.
terrible. People think, all right, we got to listen to this guy. You know, maybe he has a point. And then he fills it with, maybe you do high school sports. Okay, buddy.
Okay, look.
No
I
offense.
appreciate
do
high
too.
school sports.
I do too.
Every now and then, it's fun to highlight a high school team, but you have to think about this. Realistically, most people don't care about your high school. Most people in the area don't care about the
I'd
high school
say-
you went. They'll ask you where you went,
Yeah.
but they don't want stories.
No. They're just trying to judge you when they ask you where you went.
Yeah.
And I would say there are some high schools that have some elite players that
Yeah.
are really, really good. When we talked to the East St. Louis football team. That was very,
Yeah,
very
because
cool.
they've won,
Yeah.
what, 1,000,000 times?
Yeah. But most high schools, it's kids who I would argue that maybe 50% of the parents are secretly glad when their kids.
When the season's over?
Yes.
Yeah.
When the games are over. I was talking to a friend whose kid was playing volleyball, and he goes, I'm sitting here praying for a loss so we don't make it to the next round. So.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. But I know it's true. I know it's absolutely true. There are some parents who love it. That's their lives. Yeah. They're all in, but many parents are so glad when it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever it is.
For sure. Okay. Hey, of note for people in the city of St. Louis, if you are frustrated with the snow removal efforts in the city.
No, I'm fine. All my streets are good.
You will get a chance to air your concerns later today. So people are invited to give input to city aldermen in a committee session at 3:30 p.m. today in room 208 of City Hall. You can attend in person or participate through a Zoom meeting link. The snow removal response meeting was called by the city's Public Infrastructure and Utilities Committee. And I got to say, I am getting radicalized. I'm getting radicalized by the lack of snow removal. I know the city was on the news. I don't know if it was Channel 5 or Channel 4. Someone from the city was standing in front of a giant pile of snow and said, listen, any rumors you heard about salt shortages, they're not true. We've got so much salt. We've got salt that carried over from last year because we didn't use it. So we are thrilled to death with our amount of salt. Okay, then why aren't more roads treated? I find it insane that Soulard, like Russell, all those streets in Soulard are not cleared. They weren't treated. So any of the melting that took place over the past couple days has just frozen into solid ice. I saw a local person posted on Twitter. Someone was ice skating down their street in the city. My friends who live in Soulard and South City either can't get out, can't get their kids to school, have to rely on either someone with an SUV or are just working from home, which is a privilege that they can work from home. And thank goodness they don't have any doctor's appointments. So at some point, it's a health and safety issue. McPherson, which is a very wide road in front of Metro High School, because I know they kept saying, well, the side streets are narrow. Not McPherson. It looks as wide as Tucker. It's very wide, hasn't been touched. So kids are having trouble getting to school. They're tracking across shin-deep snow if they're lucky, ice if they're unlucky. It's incredible how many people have fallen outside their homes, how many people can't get to doctor's appointments, how many people's cars are just stuck because you can't drive down ice. How is this not a huge public safety issue?
Well, of course it is.
It's been 11 days or 12 days.
I really don't know. There's a difficulty, I'm fully aware of, taking care of streets once they are icy and frozen over. You can't plow them anymore. I mean, if the street is ice, you can't do much except maybe put down sand, but the salt's not going to melt it if it's too cold like it is right now. So I look, this is not my area of expertise. I don't really know how you deal with it, but it does kind of seem like at this point, other than waiting for it to get warmer, which it's going to do for a couple of days, we're going to get into the 40s tomorrow. Should be 51, I believe, on Friday. That's going to be the high, 52. So 42 tomorrow, 52 on Friday, and then it's going to start to get colder again. You just kind of have to hope that at least on Friday, a lot of this stuff melts away.
And I know,
because I know that like some of the, again, not an expert, but my understanding is some of the chemicals or whatever they use to treat the roads don't work at a certain temperature. Like if it's too cold, they don't work.
Yeah, but we haven't up until this morning. We didn't have that. And here's my thing, Ranj, because they keep saying, they would say reasons, I would say excuses why they haven't touched any secondary roads. One, the roads are narrow. I sent you that picture of McPherson. That's not a narrow road. That's in front of a premier high school in the city of St. Louis, and you can't clear that road. in front of our building on Olive. They cleared Olive except for that lane that leads up to a school that's in our building. And so little kids, so now the parents are parking in the middle of the street, and little kids, elementary school, are trudging through deep snow and ice. I don't understand why you just don't take one more pass in front of our building. And here's the thing. The mayor is from the city of St. Louis, because they keep saying, well, this has always been an issue. We never do secondary streets. Okay. And we know Connor Kerrigan said, well, they bought some smaller trucks, which now, by the way, I guess there's a further delay. They don't think it will come till the end of 2025. And my question is, of all the mayors, and if you've lived here your whole life and you got all of this money, why has it never occurred to anybody in leadership in St. Louis to say, hey, growing up, a lot of older people had trouble getting to doctor's appointments. People can't get to schools. School buses can't pick up kids. Parents have to get to work. Maybe we should invest in a little snow truck to do the secondary roads slowly.
One little snow truck?
One little snow truck.
I
You know what I
this-
mean? Like, if you're not doing anything, how did it not occur to the mayor or any mayors previously or any board of aldermen previously to get a
So,
smaller truck to help people?
The only thing I can think of is that sounds great, but a lot of people aren't willing to pay for stuff until it becomes a problem, until it's too late. So if the city was to say, we're buying this fleet of small pickup trucks with plows on the front of them, and they announced this in April, I guarantee you some of the reaction, if not most of the reaction, is going to be, why are you wasting your money on this? We have other things to worry about. Let's worry about crime first. You're worrying about snow plows. We get a snowstorm once every 7 years. That's what people are going to say. So and maybe you're right, but in some respects, I think that it's people generally are not very proactive, and they don't think proactively. They don't think ahead. They don't think, well, yeah, maybe that could be a problem if we do have a bad snowstorm, so we should be prepared for it. They're more worried about, how do you fix issues that we're looking at right now? So right now, the snow is a problem right now. But in April, if you're talking about what happens in December or January of the following year, people aren't thinking proactively.
I mean, it just blows my mind. We've had snow a couple of years ago, as we mentioned, when the pipes broke, right? And it was super cold. They never cleared the Central West End. I don't understand how, especially now that we've got the money. But it's not like we've never had snowstorms before. And I would say it is a big public safety issue to have it be an absolute disaster in front of your schools.
And I agree with you, but I'm saying getting people to think months in advance on that. And I'm talking the public, and then them being aware of it and okay, like, hey, we're buying snow plows. So just in case we have a snowstorm this bad in 8 months, or if it's not 8 months, then 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years from now, are you okay with that?
I guess.
Are you okay with us buying this fleet?
I mean, the thing is, like, I lived in Dogtown, right? And as they mentioned, Dogtown is especially bad right now. What I'm saying is we have lifelong lifelong city residents. This is not the first snowstorm. And they're the ones that have said, hey, we really need secondary streets cleared. That's what I'm saying. If this was the first time it had ever snowed in the city of St. Louis, I get it. There were 500,000 people who lived here in 1982 during that snowstorm, and the news stories are insane, just like how unprepared we are. And I would say this snowstorm, as we mentioned, was nothing compared to 82. It blows my mind that the way the city leaders are talking kind of feels like this is the first time it's ever snowed in St. Louis. And I guess for me, okay, I mean, I guess if the leaders are okay with it, but we've already talked about how if there are some residents in some areas that have the money to hire private snowplows, well, now the city leadership who are supposed to be looking out for the most vulnerable have really screwed them over. Because now the wealthier neighborhoods, they're like, screw this. I'm not waiting for leadership. We're going to get our own snowplows. Now the people who don't have those resources are doubly screwed.
And again, I agree with you, but people have to be willing to think proactively instead of what's happening in their immediate, which is what we all as humans tend to do. We don't think ahead like, oh gosh, we could have this disaster, so let's be prepared for it in case it happens. We're thinking about what's going on right now immediately in our vicinity. So that's on all of us. It's not just city leadership. It's on the people who live here to be willing to be okay with looking ahead.
I'm feeling very Frank Costanza. You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? That's how
You
I
don't
feel.
even live in an area where you have to deal with it.
That's why I
You're
moved.
fine.
I moved. I was in the city for years.
You're fine.
But my dear friends are not fine, and they've been sending me pictures, and they're very frustrated. And because I care about my friends. Also, a really sad piece that was on, I think it was KSDK, just some elderly residents in North City. Made me feel really sad. Just older people who can't get to where they need to go, regular doctor's appointments. That was a sad piece.
That's Amy Marks Cores. I'm Chris Ranji, 314-436-7900. And you can use the Odyssey app to drop us a message. This is KMOX.
You want a piece of me? You got it! I see clearly now, thanks to the doctors, Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, Royer, and Barry. You can too. Go to youridoc.com.
The 28th Winter Warm-Up is coming to Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village January 18th through the 20th. The event features 3 days full of non-stop Cardinals family-friendly fun, including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse, admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum, plus access to the Cardinals Care Store, autographs, auctions, and an exhibit hall full of sports memorabilia and more. Tickets are on sale now. Proceeds benefit Cardinals Care and its mission to care for kids in the community. Find more details at cardinals.com/WWU.
The 28th Annual Winter Warm-Up is coming back to Busch Stadium and Ballpark Village this weekend, January 18th through 20th. Admission passes and player autograph tickets are on sale now. Team up with Cardinals Care to support St. Louis area children by purchasing your tickets now. It's one of the best events of the year, with family-friendly activities including tours of the Cardinals clubhouse and admission to the world-class Cardinals Hall of Fame and Museum. Get more info now at KMOX.com/events.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos. With Ethos, it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
It seems every political administration has a different idea about taxes. No matter where you stand politically, you should know about the new tax proposals from the Trump administration and how they could affect you and your retirement savings. The good news is Steve All and the All Financial Group are here to help. Join us for the upcoming educational seminar Thursday, January 23rd or Tuesday the 28th at Stone Summit. You'll learn about the proposed tax changes from the Trump administration, how these changes could affect your retirement and your income in the future. Again, that's January the 23rd or the 28th at Stone Summit. Reserve your spot by calling 636-230-8824 or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Kevin Wheeler. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice.
stop, collaborate, and listen.
Chris and Amy show on KMOX. The Dave Glover show is coming up soon. Amy and I, as we always do, will hang out for that 1 o'clock hour with the gang. We are hoping that you're listening on the Odyssey app because it's great. It's crystal clear. You can rewind if you thought you heard something and you want to, like, what did they just say? And you can go back and listen. Also, if you have one of those, they call them smart devices at home, like an Alexa, you just say, hey, Alexa, play KMOX. Or, hey, Alexa, play the Chris and Amy show, and it will do it for you. It's awesome. Yep. I tried it out last night, actually, and I listened for 5 seconds, and I said, man, we're good.
Yeah.
Let's get to your phone calls because I promised we would. At 314-436-7900 in St. Louis, Mike is with us on KMOX. Hi, Mike.
How you
Hello.
doing?
Oh, hey.
Hey.
Chris, Amy, I'm just curious, if when you push snow, you push it to one side or the other, left or right. So wherever you're parked in the street, you're going to have twice the amount of snow against your car. And how much damages is that going to cause with having 6 or 8 inches of snow pushed up against an aluminum body car? And why if the city has never had them, before they go out and buy a whole fleet, maybe they should buy one and try it to see how many damages they're going to do to these people's cars.
Well, that's the thing that what a lot of cities do.
One little truck.
A lot of cities.
That's what I said.
We bought a tiny truck. What do you want from us? What a lot of cities do is there are certain thoroughfares where you just cannot park. If a snowstorm is coming, if they expect it to be like over 2 inches, they'll say you cannot park on this road. You can't do that everywhere, though.
Yeah.
There are just some people who are going to get trapped in. And then those residents have to be okay with the fact their cars are going to get trapped in.
And to that point, this is the very first year I've had a garage, which means for the past 10 years, guess what I've had? Street parking. And I did street parking for a long time in Clayton, and there's still street parking all in the moorlands in Clayton. And guess what they do? They plow it, and then the people who park on the street have to dig themselves out. That's just something you accept when you have street parking in a city. And I will say this, I don't know why everyone acts like St. Louis is special or something. Like we're the one city that can't plow the roads because what are you going to do?
I don't think people are doing that.
Because the thing is, I've been in, like I said, Clayton has street parking. They can do it. Other big cities do it. I don't understand why everyone acts like St. Louis is so unique that there's no way we could possibly plow the secondary roads. We're not special.
Let's try North City. Gail talks to us. Hi, Gail.
Hi, Chris and Amy. I live in North St. Louis City in Hamilton Heights area, and our streets are just covered with ice. I mean, they have been. In fact, the first day that it snowed, we had out there, the ambulance were right down the street from Engine House 13. The ambulance got stuck out here. The paramedics had to dig themselves out. You know, it's just crazy. And it's crazy they're having this meeting to hear our frustrations. We shouldn't have to tell them our frustrations. This should be obvious. It makes me wonder, where are our city officials living? Because they should be having the same problem.
Well, they are. I mean,
Thank you, Gail. That's awful. An ambulance. What? I mean, that's so dangerous.
Yeah. I mean, the alders have to live.
Thank you, Gail.
They have to live in the ward that they represent. You can't be on one side of the city and represent a different side.
But I get her point.
So, I know what she's saying. Yeah.
Like how can you not see this? How can you not know our frustrations? And I know that might be directed more towards the mayor as well, because I know at least 3 aldermen have gone on record saying this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
Let's talk to Mark in North County. Hello, Mark.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
I live up off of, I come in Graham Road every day, past and get on the highway at 270. And there's a right entrance lane to 270 or the North Service Road there that has never been plowed in years. And it runs about a quarter of a mile. So everybody that wants to get on 270 going west or get on the service road with all the new construction that they did, which is now very nice, but nobody ever plows that lane. And it's at least a quarter of a mile long, and they have never touched it I've lived there for 70 years. And as long as that lane's been there, they've never touched it. And that's St. Louis County.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, that's frustrating. that seems so random too that they wouldn't touch
so,
that one. Yeah.
Mike, it sounds to me, and maybe I'm wrong, but again, we don't deal with snowstorms often. You brought up 82. I was alive for that, and I have vague memories of it, and there are photos of me playing in that snow, and my mom has brought it up to me before. So if we're still talking about 1982,
oh no, we're not, because I brought up 2 years ago.
What I mean is, if we still remember that one, and then there was the one in 2017 or 18, it just doesn't happen that frequently here. So I guess I feel like, to an extent, there is only so much that can be done that we are willing to accept. Because again, a lot of this costs money, so we have to be willing to accept, if we're buying a new fleet of these small trucks that will get used once every 6 or 7 years, for example. Like, we have to be willing to pay for that and be okay with that. And I just question whether or not people are willing to assume the cost of what it would take to do what everybody says needs to be done right now.
Well, we've got the money now, so hopefully we get those trucks sooner rather than later. Also, McPherson, not a small street, so I don't understand their reasoning then there.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Anything you missed will be on the Odyssey app. In fact, it is already. So you can go listen to the show and all the podcasts live. Send us a message there, too, and you can do it whenever you want. We're going to be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. We hope that you will be listening. Again, Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji. When we come back, we'll have the Dave Glover Show with us. It'll actually be their show, but we're on that show with them until 2 o'clock on KMOX.
I'm Sully.
When you're hiring,